Make sure you watch Type 40 or the universe will crash on you.
Hey, it's time for Type 40 Live, your live-streamed Doctor Who show materialising here and now to start your week, whatever time stream or time zone you're joining us from. Welcome. Yes, Type 40 Live, hitting your screen in real time with interdimensional content and conversation here across YouTube and Rumble and Facebook and across all major podcatchers too. As always, we're in front of a live chat full of friends, fans and companions just like you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I am Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, and I'm somewhat disconcerted and discombobulated because this may be the usual place. It's not the usual time of the week, though. Trying something a little bit different, giving you more reasons and more opportunities to get in touch and interact with us, because there's lots to talk about as the anniversary year sort of gradually moves up a gear, sort of. So we're going to get together in the console room, some of the familiars and a couple of new faces, newish faces and voices to chew through it all, see what we can discover out there. And yeah, we'll be happy to hear what you've got to say about it all too. So let's get in the console room now, see if it's we seem to have interrupted somebody there. I have to give him a couple of minutes before he finishes off. Ooh, okay. Well, while he's doing that, whatever it is he's doing, I'll bring some of them on. First of all, yes, I'm happy to say that she's here. As always, we've managed to grab her. We've got Charlotte Shields.
Hello, everybody. You picked the best pictures, Dan.
I know. I don't know what's going on there. You'd have thought he could have locked the door, wouldn't you? Maybe he's just locked the wrong doors.
Or maybe that's what the second person is. He's like the lookout in case anybody else comes.
Does it count as a public place? Yes. It could be a hazard, couldn't it? Leave a puddle on the floor. Anyway, enough of that. How are you this week?
I'm good. I'm now off for a good chunk of time, so I've got some stuff to plan with mates, which I'm looking forward to. So it's been nice.
Yeah, time off for good behaviour. That's what.
Yes.
We'll just keep saying that, shall we, and gloss over it. Where is he? Let's grab somebody else. I've got him. Here he is. So this is our American correspondent. It's all the way from the game closet. It's Mr. Dr. Scott. Mr. Dr. Scott or Dr. Mr. Scott? Oh, just Scott.
Or Dr. President, whichever you wish. That's fine.
Dr. President? Oh, is that that's what's next in the sights, is it? You're going to move your way up?
Well, I think that is the absolute top of the degree I can get. That's it. I can't go any further. So, and I just have to have a university who will accept me for my silliness. So that's all. So hello, everybody. Good to see you all.
Good to have you back, Scott. I'm just imagining you as POTUS. That would be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Potentate. Yes. I don't know. We don't want to go that far, do we?
The game White House. Just imagine all the consoles you could fit it into the Oval Office. It would be spectacular, wouldn't it? Good to have you back, mate. How have you been keeping? What have you been up to?
Just planning for season 3 and getting ready to do our live. We're going to be doing a live end of season look back at some clips and stuff, and we're going to get to make fun of me as much as they want. Anybody wants to make fun of me? Yeah. So then I'll be kind of just taking a little bit of a break before I start publishing new videos for season 3, and we've got some crazy things coming out. So if anyone knows who the Angry Video Game Nerd is, one of my videos this past season, I ended up in his basement. and I'm going to be doing an episode from his basement, if you will. So,
was there any Rohypnol involved or anything?
I was going to say, was that of your own accord?
Well, you know, I am a very clever graphic designer like Dan is, and I'm very dangerous with editing. I will leave it at that.
Well, let's see if we've got... Is he here yet? Have we got Ian David Diaz, the Mega Geek? I think we've got him, but whether he's actually in place or not, I'm not entirely sure. Can you hear me, Ian? Can you hear? Come in. He's here. Hello, mate.
Yeah, I'm all right. How's everybody? Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Fantastic, mate. Can't wait to get stuck in. You're wondering, haven't you, what we've got to talk about? You're wondering what I've managed to find, haven't you?
I've been so busy this week. I've been working too much, so I have no idea what's going on with Doctor Who or anything actually. Yeah.
I'm happy to say, mate, that you've come to the right place, because this is Type 40 Live, where we talk about the world's longest running, best loved sci-fi and fantasy series, and the whole Whoniverse around it, both on and off screen. And we're live streaming it too, as always, over to Rumble, to YouTube, and to Facebook. So anybody who's watching over there, hello there. So that's the people in the Type 40 Facebook group there. You've got to remember to hit the little blue link. Then Facebook tells StreamYard who you are. StreamYard tells us, and we all get on first name terms to pick our way through all this and console ourselves with the fact that Doctor Who was a no-show, sort of, at San Diego Comic-Con. Well, or was it? We're going to find out as we get stuck into it. Yeah. And we've got two more people to bring on. So first of all, from the YouTube channel Shush. I can never say this. He's going to have to change it. So I'm going to bring in Max, and he can tell us which YouTube channel he's from. Shush Richards.
Hello.
Hey, you got the guns out, hey!
I can't pronounce it. I'm not allowed to, but you know, I should change the name. You're right. It's a terrible name.
Don't do it on my account, mate. But yeah, it's got. I should be able to pronounce it by now. I'll have to practice it. Yes. So it's been a couple of months since we last spoke. How are you? What's been going on? You ready to start summer?
Yeah, I'm going to Tenerife with people next week.
How very young of you?
I know, but I'm gonna have to fly on a plane, and oh god. I don't like planes at all, but you know.
Oh, just the thought of it. Just the thought of it knackers me out, Ian.
Yeah.
Well, random
why
people
do a lot of young
so.
people go to Tenerife? I don't understand that. I've been there once, and I didn't really find it very exciting. I just don't understand.
Because there's a lot of good bars if you know where to go.
Oh,
there's a lot of good nightlife.
Well, maybe Max will tell us when he gets back. We'll bring it back on. But it's good to have you back, mate. We've been wanting to bring you onto one of the live ones for a little while. So relax and enjoy yourself, and bring the guns out with some of your opinions and your takes about all the subjects we're going to look at, and the various Doctor Who luminaries that we might touch on a little. And lastly, filling out the panel, I'm happy to say I'm so happy to have this guy on, because he's a bit of a Doctor Who podcasting legend. I think he's probably going to be smirking as I say this, because you may have heard his shows. He's been around for a little while, but he's here on Type 40 Live right now. And I'm happy to say that Martin Havel here, alias Bad Wolf, is in the console room. Hello, Martin.
I'm the grizzled old man.
Join the club.
I was going to say that's Ian's job.
Yeah. Join the club, mate. Welcome.
If you're the grizzled old man I hate, I think what that makes the rest of us. So yes, Martin, you are or were or will be Bad Wolf. How does that work? So what's Bad Wolf? How long have you been doing it, and where can people get it?
So Bad Wolf started in 2010. I've frozen. I don't know what's going on there.
Oh yeah.
Can you still hear me?
Yes,
we can still hear you. It'll sort itself out. I don't doubt.
Yeah. So Bad Wolf started in 2010. Started out as a Doctor Who podcast. Then my friend Jared fell out of love with Doctor Who, so we kind of just converted it to just a film and TV review show. And now we've got a couple of spin-offs. We've got Running Down Corridors, which is the Doctor Who podcast, and I've just launched a new one called Mark Meets, and that's just where I interview people.
You can tell us some more about that later on. I'm happy. Have you done much live streaming, or is this new to you, being completely live and raw?
You are taking my live streaming virginity tonight.
Hey, good stuff. We'll be gentle with you for the next hour and a half or so. And I know that they will too over in the live chat on YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. In fact, I think we should waste no more time and go and check in with them, see what they've got to say about all of this.
Hi, guys, and welcome to Type 40.
Hello, everybody out there. So, who was here first? Who was on the clock? And what have they got to say for themselves? We have Lord Thoth's here with a hi, everyone.
No.
With Retro.Gary Akers here too with a hello. Are people, Matthew Burrow says, are people going to go on about that? Matthew, come on. Are people going to go on about how Shooty is the fecking second coming, or are we going to be able to have criticism on here? Now, do you mean in the comment section or on the panel? You know as well as I do, if you've been watching this show a long time, and I think you have, that all views are absolutely fine here at Type 40 Live, as long as you are happy to have them challenged by people who feel a little differently. So that's it. You know, we're not partisan in any way. You can have your views and we'll have ours, and I dare say we'll disagree about some things and not about others. But thanks for that, Matthew. We've got Lol from Lord Thoth. He's obviously happy. And we've got an evening from Sam too. Good evening, lovely people, says Wendy from the Department of Wendology. And hail and greetings from the Darren Zone too. Happy to have you here as well, Darren. The Geeks handbag's in too, swinging the handbag. You know, general direction, but more in a celebratory style, I think. Good evening, one and all, from our mate Adam. Good to see you there, mate. And evening, Dan. Yes, good to have you back. Hail from sunny Florida, from Aidan McGear. Still there sunning himself. Do you live in Florida, Aidan? Have I got you mixed up with somebody else? It's a long holiday. Greetings. Oh, we got a greeting, Charlotte, from Adam here.
Hi.
And what else?
Don't bother saying hello to us. We're just bloody Charlotte.
People excited about all sorts of things in the live chat. Hail this, hail that. Grand Moff Miranda's here too. Hi Miranda. Right. And so where are you? It's jumping a little, but I've got her. It's Carly Martin. Hi to you all. I hope as well missing episodes have been found. Well, so do we, Carly. That's an eternal hope of the Doctor Who fan, isn't it, Martin?
It is, yeah.
Permanently.
Fingers crossed.
Permanently. Every extremity is crossed indefinitely for that. Hopefully we'll get some news later this year. I think the BBC studios could have something up their sleeve, but we could be speculating forever, couldn't we? Hi, mate says, oh, that's you, Ian. That's you.
Hello.
We've got, great stuff. We have, now this would be John, I think, wouldn't it? From Daleks 6388 with an evening, everyone. Good to see you there, Daleks 6388. A fantastic channel and great guys there who do so much painstaking research on the Daleks. And what is Matthew? Okay, settle down, Matthew. If he's taking your chill pill, mate. That's what he's smoking. Is that
has he not watched this show, though? Has he not watched it? Has he not heard what I've said?
and also what we've all said about Shooty's
exactly.
for the last how long.
The thing is, it's fine to be just as critical as it is positive, but we can't keep going over old ground, Matthew. That's the problem. But he says, yes, I love people who disagree. I still have an open mind. Good for you. I promise if I am wrong about season 14, I will admit it. Now, I can't. He's obviously not keen. I can't remember who's keen and who's not. Evening, Martin. That's for you.
Hey, Adam. How are you doing?
Yeah. And Aidan, look at this. You can go off people, you know, Aidan. Just entered our third week. I know. I fancy coming here and flexing like that. Just entered our third week of holiday in Florida, heading home on Saturday, Sunday. I hope you had a brilliant time, Aidan. And thanks for continually checking in like that. It's really, really nice. And we loved your picture too. Cheers, y'all, from Cliff Maxwell. And John just confirming he's self-identifying. That's John.
Yeah,
great
John.
stuff. I love it. So keep the comments coming, everybody. And we've got lots of stuff to get into. First of all, though, I think that we should get our priorities straight and ask, because obviously, you know, as Matthew's just mentioned there, Ncuti Gatwa is the new Doctor Who. Have you heard this news, Max?
I have, and I'm. Despite what Matthew's saying, I think he's going to be great. I don't know. I could be wrong. I really hope I'm not wrong. But if he will be better than the 13th Doctor. You can't get much worse than that. But, you know, I think he'll be great from what I've seen.
So when you look at the promotional pictures, because obviously they've been showing us them out, they've been filming since December, haven't they? So we've seen promo images, we've seen pat snaps and all that kind of thing. Where do you sit with all that? Because lots of people who are on the panel are very excited about it and sort of get whipped up in it for positively or negatively. Whereas others, like our friend Simon Horton, he's got a very kind of pragmatic view of it, and hype doesn't touch him at all. Where do you sit with that? Does it work on you?
I'm a little loser. I sit there waiting for the trailers. If I sat there watching Wimbledon for ages just for there to be no trailer, because people just made a rumor of that, so that was pointless. But I do get caught up in the hype. Although recently there's been not much hype. There's not really been much apart from posters. But the Sonic's here, so that's something, and I think it's pretty sick that.
It is. We've got Sonic news to get into as well. So when you see the new cast of Doctor Who for next year, for Series 14, as Matthew was saying in the live chat, Millie Gibson and Ncuti Gatwa, generally speaking, you're for it. You're in the thumbs ups.
So far I am, but I really hope I'm not wrong. But I think he's going to be great from what I've seen.
Yeah, I've never seen him in anything either. I've never watched Sex Education, and I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to stay clear of it. What's your take on the current? Well, it's just stopped filming, hasn't it? So yeah, the incoming Doctor there, Martin. Have you seen his work? And are you excited about the change of the guard and everything that's going to happen between now and April? Are you going to wait and see and roll with the punches?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I haven't seen any of Ncuti's previous work, but I hadn't seen any of Matt Smith's prior to him becoming the Doctor. So let's just hope he knocks it out in the park and we get another Matt Smith type on our radar.
I think that's the ideal sort of outcome, isn't it, Ian? You're a big Matt Smith fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge Matt Smith fan, but the difference was when Matt Smith was joining, there wasn't this crappy agenda that was running for everything. So it's different now. So fingers crossed that shoot is going to be really good. I've said this, and I'll always say this: the Doctor should not be black, but that's just my opinion. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, toes crossed, arms crossed, eyes crossed, that he's going to be good. So let's see, right?
So with that in mind, Ian, do you plan on going to see Barbie there with Ncuti Gatwa?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I went to see Mission Impossible again because my friend dragged me again to see it. When I was in the queue was huge for Barbie. There was all these children in pink. There was all these gay guys in pink. There was all these women in pink. So it's taken a crap load of money over this weekend. It's done really well.
That's good.
So there you go. Yeah.
They seem to know their audience, and the way I see it, that's an ideal situation. I don't expect them all to be aimed at me, but ideally a film should know its audience. Yeah. The cross promotion between Barbie and Doctor Who has been quite strange to witness, hasn't it, Scott? Has that been the same in the States? Or because we've had like bright pink TARDISes on the banks of the Thames. We've had these sort of tie-in posters. Have they been mentioned in the same breath in the States, or is Barbie just a huge thing? And this guy, Ncuti Gatwa, he's got like 3 lines in the thing, and who cares?
I haven't seen anything other than what I've seen either on this show or just stumbling across it on Facebook. But otherwise, nobody is saying, "Oh, Ncuti's in it." He's just a minor character. So here in the States, I don't think anybody cares.
No, it's a funny one, isn't it? I know that obviously, Ian, you do go to lots of movies, don't you? You are a filmmaker, a screenwriter. So this very much your temple, isn't it? Your church in some ways. Yeah. So you go and see a lot of things of all sorts of different genres, don't you? But how about you, Martin? Would you go and see Barbie? Would you take a family member or anything like that? Or does this appeal to you in any way, just to get a glimpse of the new Doctor?
Well, I have an 11-year-old daughter, so I will undoubtedly be seeing it at some point over the 6 weeks holiday.
They do seem to know who they're aiming it at, don't they?
Yeah. She's really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm happy to see it doing well. What about you, Charlotte? Because I don't know if you go to the cinemas very often. Because Doctor, I know that you're not into like masses of other geeky stuff, are you? That you like The Witcher and the Power Rangers and things like that. Yeah. But you don't sort of jump on every genre movie, do you? So, has that made any impact with you? Are you tempted to go and see it?
Well, I really like the trailers because it looked just like fun, and it, like you said, it really looks like it's not trying to be for another type of audience. It knows exactly who it's marketing for, and I just want to go back to having lots of fun again, whether it's TV or cinema. So that's what really attracted me, and I'll probably at some point see it. But the Ncuti thing didn't really interest me because, like you said, it was very clear to me he's a background sort of character. He's not going to have a major part. So it's not a good gauge at all. If people are thinking, oh, I'll see him in this to see, it's going to not give you any indication to what Arnaldi's going to be like as the Doctor. So
Yeah.
but I'm happy like for the cinema people that they finally got
Yeah,
a
me
big
too.
hit. Like the poor managers who have probably been desperate for something to make some big money this summer.
It does look like it's going to be the biggest film of the summer, and like you say, that they do need these hits. And the way I see it, whether it's aimed at me or not, if it finds its audience, that's absolutely fine. Talking about finding an audience, Doctor Who has to sort of recapture an audience, really. And we were here, weren't we, Ian? When the very first whispers, when Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall departed in that one single day, and we had a couple of months, didn't we, where we were waiting to find out who was going to take. Max still celebrating.
I had to recover from my hangover, so.
But do you remember there was that period though where we didn't know who was going to be taking over from Chris Chibnall, and I mean, pretty much anybody would have been a plus. I mean, I'd have petitioned for my postman to do it, quite frankly, if it had been free. But there were several names that kept cropping up when we would talk on this show, and other podcasters, content creators would talk. And I think Toby Whithouse was one, and another one was probably this guy, Mark Gatiss, seemed to be a favourite of many people to take it on. Oh, Ian, you're not keen right away. You're not feeling that at all. Why the anti-Gatiss stance there?
I don't. I mean, I don't know him personally.
I agree with you, but I wonder what your reasons are.
I just feel that he's. I don't know. There's something about him that I don't like. I don't know him personally. I'm sure he's a nice guy and all that. I don't like his writing personally. It seems like him and the Moff, they haven't come up with a good idea, but they don't know how to finish it. And also, he's been in everything. He was in Mission Impossible 7, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? I'm just tired of seeing his face. I don't want to see him as the Doctor at all. So that's my reasoning.
In the last 20 years, he has been sort of ubiquitous. Of course, he wrote 9 scripts for Doctor Who between 2005 and 2017. And people do, I suppose, when somebody has written that amount of material over a long period of time, Martin, there is this interest. There is a certain bedrock of support for Gatiss to one day run the show. What do you think about that? Do you think he's got the range and the skill set to do that? Because being a decent writer, a for hire writer, and running a show like that, it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Well, yeah, we learned that with Stephen Moffat. I mean, looking back at his era, Matt Smith has got very few good episodes.
No, that's not true.
That's a spicy one, Martin.
At all.
If you look at Stephen Moffat's stuff under RTD,
Fight.
shoulders of what he put out when he was running the show. So yeah, Mark Gatiss is not my favorite writer, but I've enjoyed all of his episodes. They're all solid. I really like the Crimson Horror, and The Unquiet Dead, I think, is still one of the best episodes of the first series.
Yeah, I like that one.
So we'll see. He's a solid writer.
Yeah, I think so too. I've never not enjoyed, on some level, a Mark Gatiss story. Even Sleep No More, which was generally a bit of a stinker. I think it's not so bad when you go back to it. Max, have you got a favourite Mark Gatiss episode from the 9 that he contributed throughout?
I think it's an unpopular opinion, but I like the Crimson Horror. I think that one's quite good.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not down for him to be showrunner, because I think Moffat, he made sense. You know, he had the best episodes in RTD's run. But Mark Gatiss, he's had just like a lot of stinkers and maybe a couple good ones. So I don't think he made sense as showrunner. I think Jamie Matheson is the pick for me.
Yeah, somebody who doesn't feel like.
Don't for him either. Anyway, whatever.
And if I'm right, he's never been a proper showrunner in his own right, has he? Because I know Sherlock.
He hasn't got the experience.
That's what I was trying to say. To like, Moffat had run stuff before, so we know at least he'd had some experience being that front sort of responsible force behind a show. Whereas Mark has always been like a part of a writing team. He's always been a part of a stable of writers, and it's very different. Like Martin just said, it's show running is so different to actually just writing the odd episode or two.
Also, I heard that the Moff, as I call him, basically his first season was quite solid. There were a few stinkers in there, of course. Second season was okay, but I think he wanted to leave after the third or the I think it's the third or the fourth. But then there was no one to replace him, so he was stuck there basically. And he kind of lost his impetus to I guess, think stories through. That's what I reckon anyway.
Well, if you're not having Mark Gatiss as the showrunner, Ian, how would you feel? Because Mark Gatiss has been angling for another job now. If you remember, he's acted in Doctor Who too. He's been in it 3 times. He's played 3 different roles across 3 different eras. So he was Lazarus, wasn't he, during the 10th Doctor's era, and then he was back as Gartok in the 11th Doctor's era, and finally we saw him as Captain Archibald Hamish Lethbridge Stewart there in Twice Upon a Time opposite Peter Capaldi in his final story there. So you would think that would be enough, but it seems not for Mark Gatiss. He's angling in an interview with The Guardian. Who else? He's been speaking to The Guardian, of course he has. And they asked him about his connection to Doctor Who, and he revealed a desire, a bubbling, burning desire that he still nurtures to play the Doctor himself. What do you think of that, Ian? Would you rather have him as the Doctor?
No, not at all. In fact, I mean, in this day and age, he probably won't ever be the Doctor. But even if stuff like this wasn't going on today, as you know what I'm talking about, I still wouldn't hire him as the Doctor. I think today, with today's audience, we need someone, I hate to say it, that's kind of pleasing in the eye, and also someone that has gravitas. And I don't think he has gravitas at all. So
it has to be a little more dynamic than Mark Gatiss.
Yeah, so this is what Mark said to The Guardian when they asked him, do you want to play Doctor Who? And he says, of course I would. I think that ship may have sailed.
Thank God.
You're not going to be shedding too many tears about that one there.
No, and look, he's a good writer.
Character. Sorry,
go ahead. Sorry.
Wasn't he also in Victory of the Daleks as Danny Boy as well?
See, he's in everything.
Probably was.
Kick him out. He's outstayed his welcome. Kick him out.
He can still play the Doctor. I mean, he has a mirror in his house, doesn't he? So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, this is what gets me, because he's come closer than a lot of people have, hasn't he? Because he has actually been the Doctor for one night only. He was the Doctor for Doctor Who Night on BBC Two back in 1999, if people remember this. He sort of conjured up a Lewis Carroll sort of figure there in the frock coat, a little bit like McGann, but with ginger hair and things. And he played it. Okay, it was only a 2-minute skit that he got to play it in, but at least he got to play it, and he got to go on the cover of Doctor Who magazine, actually dressed in his gear. And yeah, you can see he's loving it there. You'd think that would be enough for him, wouldn't you, Charlotte? I mean, don't you think?
Oh no, because he's a fan, and I think he would like to properly get his teeth into it. But my issue would more be, even when he's not playing a villainous character, he just has that vibe of being a bad guy. Whatever I've seen him in, he has that sort of archness that I associate with villains, that sort of poshness sometimes. Even when, because he just seems to suit that role a lot more. And I just think if I was to watch him as a Doctor, it'd be hard for me to shift that, because like you said, he's not a new face that I can sort of not have baggage with. I've got baggage, and I've seen him do lots of other things now. So it
kind of spoilt it, didn't he, for himself?
Well, that's because he can be good. I loved him in Sherlock when he was Mycroft.
I liked him as well.
Yeah, he was all right. Yeah, he was all right.
I don't think, with the best will in the world, I don't think Mark has got the range that he thinks he's got. But I do like him. I do like the man. I think mainly because we've got a lot of the same tastes in movies and TV shows. I think that's what I see in him, Martin. He's very much one of us, and I can always feel that. Electric X Bull says, is that an energy drink? But we've got a comment from them in the live chat. Would Mark have been a better showrunner than Chibbers? Who wouldn't have been?
I think your postman, Dan, would have been a better showrunner.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Toby Whithouse is the perfect fit, says Matthew Burrows. And problem being, hello, mate. He says, no more Fitzroy goons. So he's referring... What's he referring to there, Martin? You're giving a little chuckle. Do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, the Fitzroy Tavern. It's every first Thursday of the month. They do like a big Doctor Who meetup. And in the Wilderness years, Moffat, Paul Cornell, Mark Gatiss, they all used to congregate there. But they would go down to the private writer's bar downstairs and would mingle with the rest. So that,
Does that still go on, do you know? Because I have heard of this over the years, but I wasn't sure if it was still a thing. Does anybody know?
Doctor Who fans still meet up at the first Thursday of every month there.
Really?
But yeah, I don't think the writers go anymore.
Of course they don't. That's what it is, Scott. I think you could be right. So yeah, Mark did finish off his piece with The Guardian by saying, I'm sorry about this, Ian. This could conjure up a picture that you might not appreciate. But he finished off with saying, if I was the Doctor, I'd wear nothing. A radical new approach. I'd be the first naturist Doctor, and that would scare away the Daleks.
I think I'll scare away the audience as well, wouldn't it?
I think you could be right. So yeah, be grateful for the mercies there that we're not going to get Mark Gatiss' naturist Doctor. I think he's pulling our legs there, at least, or he's pulling.
Come on, we could at least watch one episode.
Well, it's been like the musical episode of Buffy, the naturist episode of Doctor Who. Everybody's in the raw. Oh, what a terrible thought. Yes, let us know what you think of it all, though. Could there be a all nudist episode of Doctor Who? Instagram and Twitter at Type 40 Doctor Who, or let us know. What am I saying?
That episode might just go out on BBC Three one night, not on BBC One.
Oh, yeah. How am I going to get out of this one, Max? I think I've got to go to this.
I'd watch it, honestly.
Yes, so if you'd like to get some more of our nonsense in your ears, all the latest Type 40 podcasts, including our 5th birthday special with myself and Kyle Wagner, looking back at 2023 so far, they're all up now on the podcatchers of your choice or over on the home feed at type40.podbean.com. So there's all those reviews, interviews, previews, geek outs and deep dives all there to stream or to download at your discretion, as well as lots more videos here on the Type 40 channel. Our Type 40 celebrations of the 2 anniversary stories we've looked at so far. So it's the 3 Doctors from 1973 and the 5 Doctors from 1983. We gave them a lot of love here on the show for a good 2 to 3 hours, I think it was. No stone was left uncovered, and no plasmaton was left untickled in our reviews of those. So yeah, go and find those out and enjoy them. And of course, we do it all for the same reasons that the Bad Wolf does what he does. So we've got a Bad Wolf on the panel. We've got a good Wolf here on the screen there. We do it all for the love of Doctor Who, Martin. Is that what you do as well?
Yeah, I suppose it is. I'm just slightly weirder than the normal fan. I've taken it an extra step.
You're not weirder than a normal fan. All fans are like this.
In having these conversations publicly, do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, normally you're hush and you're in the corner of the pub. You don't broadcast yourself on the internet normally.
Well, when in the old days, that's true, wasn't it? Because like you were ashamed to be a Doctor Who fan. When I was growing up, I was ashamed to be a Doctor Who fan. We used to have a little fan base in school, and everybody was like, because they find out if you were a Doctor Who fan, they take the piss out of you. Do you know what I mean? So. But Doctor Who's gotten better, obviously, and it's become something that's treasured, as obviously when New Who came back and stuff like that. So I don't know if you experienced that when you were growing up.
No, I didn't discover the show until 2005. I was
okay
7 when it was cancelled.
Really?
Yeah, around the time I would have been getting into it. And obviously I'd heard about it. I knew what a Dalek was. I knew Tom Baker had played the Doctor. I knew who Sarah Jane Smith was. But it just wasn't in my orbit. And I remember the Paul McGann trailers coming on when I was about 14. That he's back and it's about time. And I thought, I might watch that. And then I just completely forgot about it. And then in 2005, it came on and I loved it. And that's what made me a Doctor Who fan. And I've since gone back.
So you're not so old after all?
I'm 41.
Oh, God, just a child. Never mind.
We've got Lord Thoth here in the live chat who says it's great to see some new faces on Type 40. Max and Martin. Give a wave at him there. Yeah,
I'll do the finger guns.
That's it. Yeah, bring out the guns. We're liking the guns, Max. That can be your thing. Yep. We've got Dr. Alex in the live chat too, and he said he's been to the Fitzroy Tavern. Where's that? He was dragged there during the wilderness years, says Dr. Alex. I can quite believe it. I think there's many pubs that he's probably been dragged into and kicked out of as soon as he started with his brand of nonsense.
Where was that tavern, by the way, Dan?
Fitzrovia.
What? Where? In London?
Guessing London.
Yeah, it's in London. It's by Tottenham Court Station.
Oh, I've never heard of it. The only place we used to congregate was the Star Trek bar, which was in Victoria. Doctor Who fans used to congregate there a long time ago. We're talking about the 80s, because there was nowhere for us to go. And the Star Trek bar was the only place. And I used to meet all my friends there that was into Doctor Who. So I don't know if you heard of that place, and it's gone now, the Star Trek bar. So when you used to go to the loo, the door used to open to go shh like that. We used to go to the loo. It was really cool.
So really? Okay, yes. So let us know what you think of all of this. Have you ever been to the Fitzroy Tavern, and should that be the very last place that they look to for the next showrunner of Doctor Who? I think that things are going to get a lot more interesting when that role is vacated the next time. And let us know what you think of Mark Gatiss. Have we really missed out on not having him running the show? I think we could live without his Doctor by the sounds of it. But what about Mark Gatiss as a showrunner? Is he always going to be one of the sort of the biggest what ifs in Doctor Who history, the best showrunner that we never had? I know there is a large group of people who do support Mark, mainly I think because of his horror sensibilities. There's a lot of Doctor Who fans who really want the show to just get scarier and scarier and scarier. And I think some of us, we do feel that. So keep the comments coming here at Type 40 Live. It's good to have you here for this show. Lots more to talk about, I promise, coming right. Where are we? Yeah, coming right up.
Greetings, I am K9. If you have an inquiry and Siri or Alexa cannot help, maybe I can. Have you ever wondered if time travel is possible? Or what can a sonic screwdriver do? I may have the answers. Please leave your questions in the comments below.
Okay, back to Type 40 Live here with my pals, hanging out and talking through the weekend's happenings in Doctor Who. What have people been talking about, and what's been trending, everybody? What's been trending? Well, it's been this. So, Max, what is this? Do you recognise this? What could this be?
I actually have no idea.
You think it's something to do with Dr. Octopus from one of the Spider-Man movies, Ian? Do you recognise that?
Oh, there we are.
This is the new, if I'm mistaken, this is the new screwdriver, is it not?
It is. It's the brand new sonic screwdriver that got unveiled last week on Thursday, wasn't it? Yeah, character options. They were straight on it, weren't they, with this toy version? But we got a full trailer, didn't we, from BBC Studios themselves, which treated it a little bit like a muscle car. Did you see that promotional video they put out, Martin, where they took us close? They took us inside the sonic screwdriver, and they took us over every little nut and bolt and all that marbling and all the rivets on the outside. Did you see that? Did you feel it? Did you go, "Whoa"?
First time I saw it is my 14-year-old son came running in and he said, "Look at this TikTok," and it was that, and I thought, "Oh, that's a good fan-made little trailer." And then found out it's real. It kind of looks like, in the Fast and Furious, where they zoom into the petrol tank and you see all the inner workings of the car. I don't know, it might be a bit like that.
I suppose it is. There's some people on the panel, we spoke about this on the last edition of Type 40 Live, and some people were feeling it and some weren't, but it definitely caught the fandom's imagination. I think it was I wouldn't say it was the right thing at the right time, because honestly at this point we're halfway through the anniversary year, people do want more, but it really did feel like they were throwing a dog a bone with this, and people were all over it and lapping it up. And firstly, I think that people were very relieved to see a version of the Doctor's favourite toy that was something like what we'd got before, that was clearly part of the lineage and looks like a tool. I think, Scott. I mean, you're a collectibles man. I think we want these things to look sort of practical. It's the tool or an instrument that the Doctor uses, isn't it? I think that's the conceit and the appeal of the sonic screwdriver.
Oh, absolutely. I have the one from the 10th and the 9th Doctor, and I also have Matt Smith's both here in the house. And I never did get the Capaldi one, but as a lot of the panel had spoken before, and I said in the comments during that show, this is an amalgamation of all of the current Doctors. I really don't see anything there from days past. Like the one that Tom Baker had. I always loved that one when I was a kid. and basically all it did was unscrew things, and that was about it.
Yeah.
But the only thing I don't like about that one is the marbling looks really phony. But it does look like a tool, like you said. It doesn't look like it's a magic wand or something nasty like Jody had.
The dildo.
Yeah, thank you.
A what?
Nothing.
But
What do you think about this? Have you got lots of? If you were, how old are you? So yeah, you grew up with
18.
you, Doctor Who. So you probably had one of the sonic screwdrivers from the Tennant or Smith era as a present or something, didn't you? Was it in your toy box when you were a kid?
There he comes. There he goes.
There we are.
Down.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, and Danny Sonic's himself off the street.
I'll take it off by accident. Yeah, but this is very cool.
I've got them all
I
up
didn't buy
there.
the new one though, because I think £30 was just ridiculous for that. I had a look, but far too expensive for me.
Also,
Yes, sir.
does it look? It does, because like when you saw the picture of David Tennant holding it, it looked smaller. The picture you just showed Dan just now, is that a little kid holding it? Because it looks really big in the hand. Do you want to bring it up again?
Could be. It could
Yeah,
be.
is
Yeah,
that a
it's
little
a kid.
kid holding
Yeah,
it?
that's a child.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
right. There you
exactly.
go. All right, okay.
Which again is a good sign if it's being marketed
Yeah.
towards children. But Max, you're quite right. I mean, £30 for the sonic screwdriver, that isn't a it's not pocket money friendly, I suppose. I
that's
don't know what the average.
crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, I stand there like an idiot making sandwiches for money, and I don't want to spend £30 on a stupid toy when I could get it on eBay for much cheaper when it's released for a while.
Yeah.
you handle that vintage model there like a pro, Max. You're tossing it around there, flicking it between your fingers. Yeah. Stunts and tricks and all that sort of thing. So yeah, this is the sonic screwdriver that the 14th Doctor's definitely going to be using this. I personally believe that Shooty's 15th Doctor will be using this too. Is that what you feel as well, Scott? Because some people seem convinced he's going to get another one again.
I don't think so, because when they went from Eccleston to Tennant, they didn't change there. I think that somehow they're going to work in the Doctor, since his outfit, if you will, his costume is the 14th. It's kind of a mismatch or from a lot of the Doctors, and the same thing with this. So I think what's going to happen is that's going to work into the story somehow, and then he'll just end up with that. Maybe it'll change color wise or something. I don't know, but I think it'll stay the same.
See, that's what I think they'll do to have a variant. I think we could possibly get a variant version for Shooty, whereas like something happens in the story, like you said, maybe the colour changes, or for an alien threat he has to have a different setting or something. And then
I think I got this theory that the David Tennant Doctor, the Toy Master, I think the Toy Master's the first episode. I think the Toy Master basically has fooled us all that he looks like David Tennant, but really he's Shooty. And he doesn't have a regeneration. He basically, the spell that he's putting him to disappear.
He's wearing like a skin, like they do in the Sims or
yeah.
something like
Everybody sees him as the David Tennant Doctor, but he isn't really. It's Shooty. That's what I think. I don't think there's going to be another generation, but this is just a theory of mine. Probably won't happen.
That's not a bad theory.
Who knows? Who knows? We've got a comment here from Lord Thoth. We've got a comment here from Lord Thoth who says that he's doing his shoot again. It may grow on me. Now, I have seen mostly universal love for this. Yeah, it is just a prop, but most people seem very, very happy with this. Electric Bull says hopefully it gets destroyed so the 15th Doctor doesn't use one. I think that's a very contentious opinion, but again, there are people who wish he didn't have these things at all. But I believe the screwdriver is quite an important bit of Doctor Who kit to get the next generation of Maxes to sort of invest in it and ask for it for Christmas and things. But you're right, that there's not going to be many kids getting it at that £30 price tag here for this collector's edition, the 60th anniversary edition, an online exclusive, the 14th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. So it was released the same day that they put out that lovely video we were all talking about that had us all billing and cooing. Character Options announced that they were producing this replica as an online exclusive, and at the price of $29.99 too. And I have to say, we talked about this on the show last time, and I was one, and Sarah Graham as well. She bought one, so we both had them. But this thing, it sold out in record time, Charlotte. It was, so I think it went live at 10 o'clock in the morning. Certainly by about 5, 6 in the afternoon, these things were all gone. Were you aware of that happening?
I didn't know at the time, because I'm not really one for looking at character options or keeping track of that. But I honestly think as well, and I think this caused such a amount of positive reaction, because I feel like this is the first bit of news or anything from the new era which is just pure Doctor Who. There's no politics, there's no sort of division, there's nothing that we've had with other announcements. This is just, here's a sonic screwdriver. I just think, and fans just want to have news, which is just purely about the show, I think, a little bit now. We're getting fed up of everything else, which is starting to sort of become a bit, again, part of the conversation, which we got 4 years of it with Jodie's lot. We don't want that again.
Yeah, just get us excited for the show again. £30 says TARDIS time. I remember back when I was a kid in the early 2000s, they were $9.99 max. Yeah,
well, even the older ones are now more expensive on eBay because they're now quite rare.
Yeah.
The Geeks Handbag, Adam says, Pertwee's yellow swirl Sonic was the best, Ian. I'm not sure about the new one.
I do like Pertweed's one, and I've got Pertweed's one up there, as I showed on the last thing. But as I said, it looks, I do like the actual design of this one, and I do like those things that come out. It's really good. But I mean, there are a lot of classic Who fans that will just and ah and not like it at all. But I think for the show to survive, it's got to move forward. It's got to evolve.
Yeah, so do I.
I mean, and if the sonic screwdriver is part of Doctor Who, that has to evolve too. So
Well, didn't David? I'm sorry.
Tennant?
No, not David Tennant. The Fifth Doctor, Peter Davison. Didn't his get destroyed in Caves
of
Androzoni?
It did.
And then of course,
the Visitation a couple of years before, he lost it pretty soon. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like they were gonna. I remember them saying, and I was a kid then, they were like, oh, he's going to go without, a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, oh, no, I've got the sonic lance. And it's just like, oh,
yeah, I believe that they should get as many of these into kids and big kids, but ideally proper kids, into as many kids' hands and bedrooms as possible. That's not going to make Doctor Who a hit or not, but I think it really adds to it culturally, Martin. It creates that kind of effect where people can take it home, they can stash it in their pockets, maybe. It's nice.
Well, my kids they're not even really into Doctor Who that much, but they've asked for a sonic screwdriver every time there's a new one. I believe there is a standard version on the way in a couple of months.
Yeah.
So we've been told there was always going to be a standard edition, apparently, for the supermarkets and for the large toy chains, of which there are still a few that are around, aren't there? They are there here and there, even though we've lost Toys R Us. But on the website last week, so this is what people found after a certain point in the day, that this thing was simply no longer available. They'd sold out of their initial order, which was met with some suspicion. Is this all a marketing ploy? They've got loads more out the back, really. And maybe you can see why people would think this, but no, they were all gone. And we had this statement here from Al Duar, who is the head of the Doctor Who line there at Character Options, and he said, "We are overwhelmed by the response to the release of the exclusive sonic screwdriver yesterday. Thank you to all the fans who've helped spread the word. The response has been unprecedented and exceeded all of our expectations." So, yes, shortly after that, though, this started to happen, and they started turning up on eBay. So we've got somebody there selling one for £110. He's got 2 available.
10 sold.
So
that's what's scary.
He bought 12, and he's whacking them all out at 110, Charlotte.
I'd love to know how these people get so many in bulk, especially when this was an online exclusive. That's what boggled my mind.
Bots.
Sorry?
Bots.
No. Bots.
Yeah, they have bots purchasing them, just like the PlayStation 5 and the
so
Xbox
that's
Series.
how they do it. Okay.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
They're very clever.
So they deploy them, Scott, to camp out on the website and order repeatedly?
That's what they
do.
do.
How it works?
Absolutely.
Ian, what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying that that these people are very clever. I mean, they've been scamming and conning people for years and years and years. They know their way around the internet and hacking and all that stuff. So I'm not surprised that they've got all this stuff in bulk and selling it at that. But the thing is, though, I would advise everybody to wait till it comes to Asda's. And your local store.
Well, the problem is this
right.
version with the metallic painting. This is not going to come to Asda's like the standard edition. It isn't, and I suppose people want one sooner rather than later. I know that Adam, the Geeks Handbag, he really wanted to get hold of one. He couldn't, but this guy has got 12. And if you think that £110 is bad, take a look at what this guy's asking for his.
Oh my gosh,
£225.
That's a lot of money.
At least it's free postage, Mark.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You see, I mean, I know I'm not really a collector of toys and stuff like from TV shows and stuff. So this doesn't bother me. I'd rather get one that's that's the official one. Less silver, because I don't think the silver looks a bit crap on that. But I can wait.
But Ian, I think you're very right there. I think what's going to happen is when the standard one comes out, I think that they're going to be the exact same thing. It's just going to be a slightly different finish.
Yeah.
And that finish is just going to be because where I used to work one time, the metallization process that they put on that. Yeah. I think that it's just going to be like the ones that I already have. It's just going to have that gray to it. So I think that if you got that special edition one, good for you. But I think that. When somebody sees that and they went, oh, I paid 50, I paid £30 for this instead of 20 or 15.
Well, I paid what is it, 150 for one that was made specially for me. Well, made especially for something that I was shooting.
That one's beautiful though, and it's metal and everything.
And my friend made that one over there. I don't know if you want to see it, but I think Dan's already seen it, and there's silver ones over there. So I do like collecting them and stuff like that. It just makes me feel nice when I've got like a row of them. So you take them out of the box and you put it and you go, wow. Anyway, let's put it back now.
I'd be so scared to death of breaking it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I leave them up there. I don't take them out.
I'd rather wait until we get this standard one, and then I know that if I drop it, if I break it, if I do anything, which I'm very, like I said, I'm clumsy. If anybody knows me, then I've not spent £30 or £100 or whatever.
My friend, he's got on his desk, he's got like a little cup for his pens, and in the cup it's got the sonic screwdrivers, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why have you got
I think that with that Sonic as well, I think it could be the case, Martin, that they know, particularly because it's priced the way that it is. I think they anticipated. I think Lord Thoth in the live chat here on YouTube, I think he's right. I think they clearly underestimated the demand. The people, the guys who put the Blu-ray box sets, they underestimated the demand for that when that range launched. I think it's the same here, but I also believe that they knew by setting that price tag that it was more likely adults were going to buy it.
Yeah, and
this is the really strange thing, and maybe even not even open the damn thing to play with it, to chip that metallic paint. Where do you stand with that sort of thing? Do you believe in opening the toys and playing with them, or do you keep stuff in its packaging?
Look, if Toy Story 2 taught us anything, it's that you've got to take toys out of the packaging.
You buy two. You always end up buying two. One you leave in the packaging, and one you take out for display, don't you? So, I know loads of friends that's done that. Loads.
These scalpers are only able to do this because Doctor Who fans will pay that price for it. If we want to stop them, every Doctor Who fan has to just not buy them from scalpers. But that's not going to happen because people want it. But if nobody brought it, this would stop happening.
That's an
excellent point. I hadn't thought of that. That's an excellent point. Bloody scalpers, says TARDIS time there. Yeah, they are scalpers, and this was trending at the weekend over on Twitter as well on social media. Matthew Burrows says they're smart business people, and I do recognise that sentiment. They're obviously going to make a lot of money off this if they can get them in people's hands before anything else happens, before the other editions come out. And Ada McGear, I think he's pointing at a similar thing. If they didn't limit it to one purchase, and so that's created this problem whereby people can buy dozens. So yes, a problem being in the live chat also says scalpers are scum. They bought them all up and stopped the fans from getting them. So yeah, it's a thing. I mean, I do recognise what Matthew's saying, and maybe they ought to look at that for the next time. But response came quite quickly from Character Options. This is what they put out. They put out a statement here. They wanted to sort of to quell this down. Obviously, there's been a huge demand for this. In order to ensure that that those still wish to own this piece may do so, we have taken the decision to reorder a new batch. The manufacturing process has started already, but it will take several months to arrive in the UK. So this isn't, they haven't got another consignment of these out the back saying, oh, we just found these. They're saying this is going to be several months here, but they promise to keep you informed of its arrival. Many are also asking Character Options here about a retail version of the 14th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. That item they released the day before. And they clarified this is a very special exclusive available only through the Character online site, but there will be a standard retail version soon available at selected retailers, and they're going to put out further news about that as soon as they can by the looks of things. So I do hope for the people out there. I wanted to go back on this because I know there were people there. I saw that Adam was really disappointed, and he wasn't alone. The people out there who comment on the show, who watch the show and follow us on social media and out in the Facebook group, who couldn't get hold of one, you will eventually, but it sounds like it could be a little bit of a wait, which obviously it's not good, but they underestimated demand. But like I said, we had the same thing with the Blu-rays, didn't we? And whilst I remember...
Could it not be... I've just thought something else, though. Maybe because of the last era that's just gone, and we all commented at the time that retailers were losing so much money, maybe this has happened because actually... like having the things in place to make a mass order of these things has just gone now a little bit when it comes to these people who do Doctor Who merchandise, because they had 5 years or whatever, 4 years of Jodie era, which just diminished and diminished and diminished actual supply and demand. So they haven't had the time to rebuild sort of what they need when they have got this sort of hot item that everybody wants again.
Yeah, maybe they didn't think it was going to be that popular and only made a certain amount, and then they just misjudged it. Do you know what I mean? So.
Well, they could have learned from... I mean, and Charlotte, you're absolutely right, but they could have learned from when Hallmark came out with the original Enterprise way back when. I don't know, it was like the late 90s sometimes, or mid 90s. And they only made, I think, 25,000 of them, and they were just gone. Yeah. And then when they came out with the next, which was the Galileo, the shuttlecraft, they made sure that they made a lot more. Yeah. So, and luckily, you know, my lovely wife, she got hold of one of those original Enterprises for me. She didn't pay a pretty penny for it, but she did pay a little bit more. But I think that you do have that combination of, well, we got hosed when it came to the Jodie era, so maybe we should be, you know, kind of cautious with this and only make so many.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, you're right. I think that.
What do you think, Max? I mean, it's very easy, isn't it, to blame the catastrophic failure of the Chris Chibnall, Jodie Whittaker era for everything. Are we being a bit unreasonable blaming them for this as well?
I don't think so. I think it would be so risky for them to, you know, make so many more Sonics, considering how shockingly bad the previous era was. But, you know, now there's a new interest in the show. It's not surprising that more are getting sold. So I think they did make the wrong decision, obviously, but I don't blame them for choosing the wrong decision.
No. Yeah, I agree with you. I'll pay extra to get a high-quality prop version, says Lord Thoth. There is that market, isn't there, for the even higher-end collectibles. I like those too. I just couldn't really afford, couldn't justify them. And the Geeks Handbag, Adam says, I missed out on getting one, but I won't be resorting to eBay or supporting scalpers. Good for you. We've got our lines in the sand.
There are companies that actually can make them for you. I know a few companies that can make you, you know, the Matt Smith one properly. Do you know what I mean? Made of metal and not the plastic version, stuff like that. So they're around. Yeah, but you pay a pretty penny for them, don't you?
There's a company called Rubber Toe Replicas, and I think you have to pay for them in installments over a long period of time. They are absolutely beautiful. In fact, I think they put a new one out just last week of the one that Max has got there, that original Eccleston/Tennant one, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
there he goes. He can't resist taking it out, giving it a twiddle. Problem Being says that the chrome on the plastic flakes really easily, and the plastic they use for chroming is really brittle and breaks easily. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Do they expect people are going to keep these in the packaging, not going to play with them, not going to get them out, and think, well, it's just an expensive sort of plastic ornament, Ian? Yeah, because I am guilty of that. I've done that, Martin. Don't tell Pixar. Yes, so keep the comments coming about that. Let us know what you think. If you've bought one already, if you're one of the lucky people who managed to get one, or have you been hit by the old FOMO and maybe you've succumbed to the lure of the scalper? Or do you feel a lot better by seeing and hearing the words there from Al Duar at Character Options that they are acting, they're going to sort the fans out, hopefully, and get these into your hands and your shelves. And you can pass them down to maybe to your kids as well. I'd like to think so. Okay, more Doctor Who talk coming up. We'll be giving you the lowdown on the no-show in San Diego, Ian, after this quick break. So it is that time. Type 40 Live's customary break in transmission, but this time, we're doing it a little bit differently. We're going for what we're calling it's a sort of a temporal shift. Hold tight.
Over 60 videos are being released to mark 30 magic years of Doctor Who. All 7 Doctors are featured. We asked 2 to tell us why the series has stood the test of time.
Colin, you were number 6. Sylvester, you were number 7.
Correct. And Tom was number 4, weren't you, Tom? Yes.
He wasn't one of the many monsters that either of you encountered.
No, Tom, that monster, we haven't worked with Tom. No, we haven't worked with Tom, have we? No, he's a tractator, actually, and he worked with Peter Davison. No, they both look much better for it. Yes.
Colin, what were your worst monsters? Or possibly it is, what were your favourite monsters?
I did a story of the Daleks, and they are special. Daleks are special. It's silly because you have to wait for hours. Well, as soon as you get a pebble on the ground, the thing's casters. The casters don't work. And there's this poor little man inside running, as fast as he can to try and make it move. Nothing's happening. But nonetheless, on screen, they achieve that thing of terrifying people.
You both had companions. And have the companions changed? Because I think even when you were playing the Doctor, I mean, they were still those sort of whimpery side bits, went off to make the coffee and stuff, weren't they?
Yes, it's a constant cry from the companion. My main companion was Nicola Bryant. I also had Bonnie for a bit as well.
We shared Bonnie.
Yes, sorry. And Nicola Bryant was always complaining because she wanted to be the feisty one who got in there and at it. And she always had lines like, "Oh, what is it, Doctor? Ah!" And they always had the scream at the end of the episode, thank God, because I hated it when I... Do you remember those things at the end of programmes?
What, you used to scream?
Well, at the end of a programme, you'd be asked for end of episode acting.
Oh, yes.
Which was, the monster was approaching, you got to go do something big. Like that was very good.
Yes, that was very big, too big.
Type 40 Live. You like that one, Scott?
I love it.
Welcome back to Type 40 Live, your live stream magazine format Doctor Who show. Let us know what you think of it all so far in the comment section. Keep them coming there in the live chat across Rumble, YouTube, and in the Type 40 Facebook group. Everybody, I'm still here with the panel. Who have I got? I've got Charlotte Shields. We've got Scott in the game closet. We've got Max here from Shush Bitchards, which I can pronounce finally. We've got Martin, also known as Bad Wolf, and the mega geek Ian David Diaz there too in the bottom right hand corner, ready to get stuck into some more. If you are, let's go and see who we've got in the live chat, what they've got to say about it all so far. So we've been talking about the relief campaign for people who are bereft at the fact they couldn't get hold of a sonic screwdriver toy the other day, that limited edition. Problem being, he says that character should limit the number per person next time. Of course they should. Of course they should. Mark Cockram adds such, hold tight and don't pay the scalpers. It's the same with the B&M exclusives. Have you ever seen that, Martin? Again, on social media, people go to B&M when those figure sets come out, and they come out with like big piles, don't they? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I went to B&M once.
Yeah.
I used to live like a 2-minute walk from one, and I brought a John Pertwee figure. And as I till, the woman went, "Oh, we got 5 more out in the back if you want more." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm okay with this one."
Really?
Yeah, they were happy to sell me 5 more if I wanted to take them.
That's extraordinary. They're that used to people buying these things in bulky, and it does seem a bit strange. About 4 years ago, Character Options released 3 new Series Sonics to B&M stores, and they sold out, says David Mullen. They probably did. In fact, they were probably there and gone in the blink of an eye. That I never even knew they were there, Charlotte. I mean, there's a couple of B&Ms by me, and they used to stock the Doctor Who toys. But funnily enough, during the, again, I can't not say it, during the Jodie Whittaker era, they stopped selling them.
And that's what I was saying, like, capacity just got so reduced that I think it's going to take a while. And I think this might not be the first thing we see where it's just sort of, oh, we need to get another batch, we need to order more. I think this show is very much in the rebuilding stage, and I think we need to sort of remember that a little bit with certain things now starting to come out.
Yeah. I say I don't want to blame them for everything, but all lines do track back. Talking about the usual suspects, I want to say hello to Shah in the live chat. How's Shah there? She's flexing and, yeah.
Flexing something.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, I'll speak to you later, young lady. And the Geeks and Handbag here, tell you what, if Adam doesn't know, nobody does. He says that Rubber Toe have already announced they're doing the 14th Doctor Sonic, but I'm not sure if it's up for pre-order yet, though. Blimey.
But there's a lot more collectors, toy collectors around than ever now, because because everything's going digital and stuff. That's a lot of people want to hold on to something, a physical thing. So there's a lot more. I'm not surprised that the Sonic sold out, within a day, or the website got shut. No. I'm not surprised at all. Not at all.
No, me neither. Let us know what you think of the whole Sonic screwdriver debacle there in the comment section and in the live chat, and we'll keep you informed about what we find out when we find it out. And maybe between us we can do our bit to stem the flow of disappointment there for people who couldn't get hold of the Sonic screwdriver last week. Talking about more disappointment, all dressed up and nowhere to go. The Doctor Who dogs there, that's Bella and Reba. Yeah, they were waiting on Comic-Con. Of course they were, and I have to admit, Scott, so was I. So this weekend just gone, as always, San Diego played host to the biggest Comic-Con in the world, the biggest event in the geek calendar, or at least it was, because the shine seems to have definitely dimmed on San Diego Comic-Con. And I'm going to talk a little bit of a summary about what, if anything, Who-related happened there, Scott. But I wanted to know, obviously you're over there in the States. Have you ever been to San Diego Comic-Con?
I have never even been to California. So, no, I've never been. The closest thing that I even came to was the Fan Expo that I went to. I think it was in March or April I went, and that was in Cleveland. And, of course, that travels around the world. You have it in different cities. I know the Boston one's coming up this month, and a friend of mine is going to that one. And if the strike is going on, he's going to be talking with whoever's there about nothing.
Yeah.
So, no, I've never been there.
Yeah.
So Peter Weller, you like sandwiches? I mean, that's all.
Yeah, because it put the kibosh and everything, hasn't it? Yeah. Really. So they can't. Even if you have a star there, you can't talk about the subject that's connected to them, and it's a real bummer. So,
well, what if you talk to Anson Mount about RoboCop, and then you talk to Peter Weller about Star Trek? So then you're okay.
So that's the rule, isn't it? So the stars can't talk about the big studio productions that they've been involved in because of the ongoing both writers and actors strike now that's hit Hollywood, and it's affected San Diego Comic-Con in a really major way, hasn't it? We read out the statement on the last edition of Type 40 Live, but yeah, this is San Diego Comic-Con took place between Wednesday the 19th of July until Sunday the 23rd in the usual place, the San Diego Convention Center. No writers or actors were present, which meant that the event kind of went back to its roots. I think that's the spin that we're sort of getting after the fact, isn't it, Ian? So we had a lot of content creators even, and comic book artists and writers were back on these panels and in these halls for the first time in 10 plus years, weren't they?
Gary was on a panel together with
Gary who?
July. Gary Nerderotic, Gary Beekler.
Beekler.
And Eric July was on a panel.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, because of the shutdown of actors and writers, kind of opened the doors to YouTubers and independent independent filmmakers, independent content creators and stuff like that. So in one way it's a bad thing, in another way maybe it's a good thing for them. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah.
Have you been following the story of the writers and actors strike, Martin? And were you aware of this effect that it had on this huge event?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be tricky. I think they're going to push back a bunch of films that are coming out because they got nobody to promote them. There's nobody to go on Graham Norton and say, "Oh yeah, I love working with Tom Cruise." There's just, what can you do? I mean, at the Haunted Mansion one, they had it in a Disney park and they used the Disney characters to walk the red carpet because you can't get Rosario Dawson promoting it when she's on strike.
I suspect they're relieved, Max, that they got Mission Impossible 7 and Barbie out. They got them finished and ready to go. And most of the promotion, I think, has probably been in the can as well for that. And those films seem to be doing okay, don't they? They must be very relieved with that.
Well, yeah, but I heard that Mission Impossible had quite a drop recently because of Barbie and Oppenheimer due to the release dates.
Healthy competition.
Oh,
well, it's kind of not because of that. It's because when Mission Impossible was being made, it got caught between the pandemic, and so the budget ballooned a lot. So Mission Impossible films don't normally cost that amount. If you look at the other Mission Impossible films, it's made the same amount of money as the other Mission Impossible film, but because the budget ballooned so much, it's considered a flop compared to how much it cost. So it's kind of stuck in between there. Oppenheimer is doing very, very well. In fact, today I tried to book a ticket to go and see it in IMAX, and from today till Sunday, all the seats are taken.
Wow!
So
that's the power of Nolan.
Monday. Yeah,
he's one of the few sort of visionary directors that's still in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And speaking of directors, Oppenheimer and Barbie all at the same time, I saw today on Facebook. He had just come out of seeing Oppenheimer. There was a photograph of Quentin Tarantino with a friend of his, and he was at the box office getting tickets to go see Barbie, and then he went right into to go see Barbie. So,
yeah. So sadly, there was a no-show by pretty much anybody at San Diego Comic-Con, and they did. I mean, we did believe several weeks ago that was going to be the case, that neither the 14th nor the 15th Doctors were going to be there. But last week the BBC sent out an email stating, "Meet the Doctor. Doctor Who is going to San Diego Comic-Con." That's not going to mislead anybody at all, is it, Scott? It's a really strange thing to disseminate.
It could have been there, right?
But it got people's... Well, it got people's hopes up, is what I'm saying, Ian, because I think, because we talked about it the week before here on the show. And by that time, because Kyle Wagner, he came on, he's our guest that week, and he told us why there would be no actors and writers there. And then the BBC put this out, so you can see why people who maybe aren't paying as close attention to that got excited when they saw this. But no, there was no Ncuti Gatwa. There was no David Tennant. It didn't happen.
But sorry, Dan, to interrupt. He could have been there though, because they are not part of SAG. But I know Simon Pegg is on strike, with the Americans, even though he's part of the British Actors Union. But just to support them,
solidarity.
Solidarity. But in all honesty, Ncuti could have been there, and so could have David Tennant been there as well, because they're not part of that thing. But I guess if they show up, they're going to be called scabs or something like that. Would they call them scabs?
Well, David Tennant did sort of make it, but in miniature form. So he was there,
there you go.
As part of Titan. This is what they mean by Doctor Who being there. So Titan Entertainment had some exclusives on sale at San Diego Comic-Con, a range of merchandise that was exclusive to that convention. Apparently you're not going to be able to get this in the shops. So there was these kind of... Now, there's a specific name for these. It's on the left, we have the Doctor Who 14th Doctor 3-inch classic Titan vinyl figure. And then on the right, we've got the Kawaii Titan vinyl figure. So they're very specific. They've both got the tilted up eyebrows there. They're both doing the Mr. Spock's a little, I think. So that's one item of merchandise. But as opposed to not having the real David Tennant. You can see why people would be a little bit disappointed with these exclusives, because who's going to go all that distance? I mean, I suppose it's different if you live in San Diego or the surrounding area, but if you're flying in, you're going to pick up something that, as you said, Martin, Max, you can pick this stuff up at B&M.
That is horrible. Imagine flying all the way to get one of those. That is disgusting. I hate everything about those things.
I like the
especially
one on the left.
The one on the right, especially though, that is horror.
Yeah, the one on the
It's
right is
nightmare
bad.
fuel, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like the one on the left. I think the one on the left is. I would buy the one on the left. I wouldn't buy that one on the right, though. Oh, I wouldn't.
They are hideous, says Woodhouse 122. Yeah, I'm not very keen on those either. There was also this set here, so a nice impressive TARDIS fronted box there for the TARDIS enamel pin badge set. Who doesn't love a pin badge, and who doesn't love TARDISes? Inside there's lots of different variations of the TARDIS there from throughout the decades. Right the way at the top here, we've got the one that we saw in the Day of the Doctor, didn't we? The initial the capsule look right the way through. We've got the pink TARDIS there from the Happiness Patrol. I think that would be too early for Barbie. The floral one that we saw, the dedication to Clara. We've got the War Doctor's TARDIS. It's all in there, and it depends how many lapels you've got to pin them on, doesn't it, Martin? I mean, this is do you wear pin badges? Would this be something you'd go for?
I do sometimes. If someone buys me one, I'll put it on, but I don't really buy them myself.
No, I've got some, but I probably wouldn't buy a whole pack like this. It's nice that there's exclusive things like this at Comic-Con, isn't it, Charlotte? But it does reinforce that belief that they planned on being there, didn't they? The actors, at the very least, and maybe the showrunner too.
Yeah, because Russell had made, he hadn't said he was going to be there, but he made comments and little bits and bobs on social media. And they probably were, because back in the heyday, Doctor Who was massive at Comic-Con, and Russell, I've always said, there's one thing you can't say Russell is bad at, and that is actually talking on stage about this show, getting you excited about this show. So it's the perfect setting. But yeah. My bigger thing is, if I think they would have known with enough time that they weren't going to make it. So I think instead of just doing little bits and bobs of little vinyls or little pins, and we all sort of spoke about this on previous shows, I'm amazed we didn't get anything footage-wise, any trailer, any clip, anything, because that's what if you knew your actors weren't going to be there, then why on earth could you not have given something that you didn't need actors on a panel to promote? You could have just put something out, a trailer, like I said, an exclusive clip, something, and I think that really would have worked with this actorless approach that they knew they were going to have to deal with.
Yeah, but Charlotte, I think the problem is that they're linked with Disney, and Disney, I guess actors and stuff like that, they're all on strike and stuff like that. I know Disney's against the strike and stuff like that. So I guess it would have been a bit dangerous to put a clip out, especially when everybody.
Would it, Ian? Because it's not that you're not breaking any of these rules about. They're not going there. They're not promoting. They're not talking.
I know, but I don't think
trailers an online thing.
Yeah, I don't think they want to rock the boat. They want to try and be in the middle. They want to be safe. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to spoil it. You know, so I can understand why they didn't show anything or didn't have any of the actors there and stuff like that. As I said, you know, America plays a big part in our industry, film industry. Like it or not, American money is about 75% of the major films that are made in this country. So you don't want to rock the boat on that, especially TV as well. So, and I understand why they did it. So
yeah, but here's the thing: we're so many months away. I'm getting a bit fed up of this. They don't want to show anything.
No, I'm with you. With you.
They were very proud of this booth that they'd got there at Comic-Con. So it's decorated with the new Doctor Who livery, and they were playing the Tingle teaser trailer there in the corner, and there's, as well as the vinyls lining the shelves, there's T-shirts and various other bits and bobs. So it was there. It did have a reasonable presence next to Crunchyroll and Digman, whatever that is, and Nickelodeon. So they were there. It was represented, but it does seem like slim pickings. And we did. I mean, the actors weren't there, but we did get these new posters, which we talked about on the last show, which are very colourful and evocative, and all this stuff's very, very nice, isn't it? But in my view, it all supports the theory that some of those actors, if not all of them, were meant to be there. If you look closely, though, at the booth, you can see that there are little hints at what's to come. So there are people out there who are, how can I put this, still smarting, I think, for the realization that Doctor Who is now going to be attached to the Disney brand in any way. I think that this is partly, in some ways, it's a cultural thing. I think, Martin, that some people feel, no, it's British and Disney is anything but British, and that they could encroach on this intellectual property long term. And then there's, of course, the whole problematic angles surrounding Disney and some of their choices that they're making as a corporation as well, and the other productions that they have on their site and the other things that are on their streaming platform. So it's all become so charged and so politicized. But to see it all here on the screen here, how do you feel when you see the Disney logo next to the Doctor Who one?
I think it's incredible that Doctor Who's come this far, that Disney would be interested in it. And yeah, like Ian raised a good point, and about 75% of money is funded for America. You haven't seen a British drama in the past 30 years that doesn't have some sort of American money in it. So this was inevitable. I think the best example we can look at is probably The Walking Dead. Yeah. So Disney don't own The Walking Dead, but they're the global streamer for The Walking Dead. And they don't interfere with The Walking Dead at all. I think that's kind of the relationship they're going to have with Doctor Who.
Here's hoping.
Now, that, if I remember correctly, AMC used to have that, didn't they, Martin? The Walking Dead.
Yeah, AMC owned the rights to it, but Fox owned the international rights. And when Disney bought Fox, they shut down all the Fox channels, and all the Fox properties went on to stream in on Disney Plus.
They just snapped it up like that. So yeah, here it is. We've got the Doctor Who booth, we've got the BBC logo, we've got the Disney logo. But if you look on the right there, Charlotte, you can see another display on a screen. We've got the Diamond logo and the Disney logo, but there's something else tucked inside it.
Can't quite read it.
Yeah, well, I can. It's this. It's a brand new slogan for the Doctor Who universe on the new global streaming platform. It says, Doctor Who, the universe just got bigger. Specials coming soon. New series streaming 2024. So this does seem to be something that they're carrying through, because it's not just there. It was on pin badges that were given out as well. These were given out at Comic-Con, Scott. You don't like these? What's...
Get the TARDIS off that dirty-ass Disney logo. I'm sorry. Good Lord.
Go on over to you then, man. You let it go where they're both barrels. Give us the guns there. You take Max's guns and blow some holes through this.
Okay, listen. Disney has been... that's it. I'm getting it out, okay? Disney has been an abysmal freaking failure over the last 10 years. Bob Iger and all of his cohorts, including Kathleen Kennedy, have run everything into the ground. So they go ahead and sink their meat hooks into Doctor Who. What are you going to do? You going to try to woke up something more that's already been woked up for the last 5 years? Listen, get your meat hooks out, stream it on Disney, and leave it the hell alone, because otherwise Doctor Who is dead. So Disney, keep your mouse meat hooks off. Period.
It is funny, isn't it? Because when you look at these pin badges, the Disney logo is the first thing you see, I think, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Mr. Jaws up there.
I've got mixed feelings about it. I really have. And people in the live chat.
Yeah, look, Disney has destroyed Pixar, Marvel, and everything else.
Star Wars.
Willow. They literally decimated Willow. And plus, I hear today that Iger is trying to sell, was it 25% of Disney now? They're trying to sell off little bits of Disney.
They are selling off portions of it. Yeah, it does seem to be that some of those streaming platforms and various other services that they acquired, just as Martin said, that some of them they don't intend on keeping hold of. I've even read that they could be looking to sell off Hulu, which they've got the Alien series there, which is only just about to start shooting. So heaven knows what's going to... Obviously, all isn't right at Disney. They'll probably never admit that. But when I have to say, I'm somewhere between the two positions on this, because I understand what Martin's saying. I believe that in theory, Disney Plus is the right global streaming home for Doctor Who internationally. I see how that makes sense, and I see what the name generally represents to the average person and how accessible it will be, and that excites me. I also like the idea that they're going. It does seem like they're going all in on this to be making these pin badges so many months in advance. I quite like the new strapline as well, and yet seeing that logo, the Disney logo, bigger than the TARDIS, and the BBC logo or the Diamond logo being nowhere on the pin badge at all, I am kind of having a bit of a reaction to this that I can't quite describe, Max.
Yeah, well, as long as they leave it alone and let the BBC and Russell have all the creative decisions, I think it's only a positive. But if they start messing with it and ruin it like they ruined Marvel, Star Wars, I don't care about any of those anymore.
Definitely ruined Star Wars, and I've enjoyed some of it. I'll put my hands up and say I've enjoyed some of it, but I believe they have ruined Star Wars. Yeah.
Well, Dan, go ahead. I'm sorry, Max.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, the Book of Boba Fett. He was my favorite character. I thought he was so cool, and they made him into a little old man running around the place doing nothing. It's pathetic what they did. I think they should leave it alone. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think. Go on, sorry, Scott.
Dan, is it me, because you're a graphic designer as well, and this is very graphic design 101 for me. Now you had to have a lot of people say, okay, we're going to take the Disney logo and we're going to take this icon, the TARDIS, and we're going to mix them together. You don't mess with your branding. You just don't mess with your branding whatsoever. And I mean, I know you can take some allowances here and there, but like I said, you have this fledgling brand right now that's really trying to get back up on its feet, and then you put it in bed with the worst hooker in the neighborhood, Disney. No. I mean, Doctor Who's going to need some penicillin shots if Disney keeps messing around with it. Sorry.
I kind of agree with you. I think Disney is a bad match for Doctor Who. I mean, they could have went anywhere. I just think that Disney's destroyed a lot of things, and I just hope they don't destroy Doctor Who. And quite frankly, I do like the design, that badge design. I think it's really quite clever that they've made the TARDIS go with the line and stuff like that.
There's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said for simplicity. I agree with I agree with what you've said, Scott. But I also do think there's a lot to be said for simplicity too.
Oh, sure. But does it not come to the fact that if Disney was on top right now, if they were making the best Star Wars, Marvel wasn't in the toilet, and all the above. If all of a sudden you saw that TARDIS on the Disney Channel, wouldn't everybody be going, yay? I mean, they don't own it, but we'd all be going, yay, Disney's got Doctor Who now, yay. No, we're all going, oh God, please don't screw it up worse. Please don't screw it up worse.
That was the reaction for when the sequel trilogy came out, and everyone was so excited for the sequels when it was announced with Disney, and we all know how trash they all were. Actually, I like the seventh one, but the other two.
If I see Kathleen Kennedy anywhere near a TARDIS, I'm getting on a plane to California.
Woodhouse 122 says here in the live chat on YouTube, who stopped being British when they handed it over to Bad Wolf, who are part owned by Sony. Sony didn't own Bad Wolf though when Bad Wolf started to make it. Yeah, it happened a little while after. I mean, also, Sony may have. Sorry, Martin, carry on.
BBC America funded Doctor Who for nearly the entire time it was on air. So, like I said, you have not seen a British production in the last 30 years that doesn't have American money.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist. So, it's not stopped being British. It never was from 2005.
I don't know whether to apologize or to apologize.
No, well, the thing is, though, I actually believe that Doctor Who got better when it came back. When Russell T brought it back,
it did.
It really did. It got better. The visual effects got better, and and the stories got better.
I love that era.
Yeah, I love that area too. There's some really dumb ones in there and some really crappy episodes. A lot of crappy episodes. But then what series don't you get crappy episodes?
Absolutely.
Even Star Trek
I completely agree. Generally speaking, in the live chat, people aren't feeling this Disney connection. We've got lots of sicky face emojis there from probably being in the bin. Says BGT more, the IGT more. Yeah, whatever that is. Sony is not the problem. Disney is, as Matthew Burrows. The Sodor Engines says Doctor Who, and the Disney logo makes me sick. People are having a gag. This is
what we should bear in mind
gag reflex.
Is that Disney Plus around the world has, I think it's 85 million global subscribers. So even if 1% of the Disney Plus audience watch Doctor Who, that's more viewing figures that they're getting than Doctor Who has had for like the past decade. Everyone likes to point the finger at Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, but if you look at Capaldi's last series, his viewing figures next to Jodie's are pretty much neck and neck. There's 100 in them, a couple of hundred maybe. So everybody's dislike for Doctor Who started in the Capaldi era. We had to stop covering it on Bad Wolf because my co-host hated it.
I don't think it was quite like that. I've got to step in and say and answer that a little bit, because I don't think it was a universal dislike like that. I think what we saw with that was the show not being supported by the BBC anywhere near it. I think complacency had set in with the schedulers. They were scheduling it all over the place, and it was sort of, its hands were tied sort of behind its back really, which necessitated the I suppose they felt that by getting it the incoming production team, they angled for a regular slot to the point that they didn't even care where it was anymore. So I don't think that's a fair representation of what actually happened.
But Chibnall and Jodie came in when the wall was falling down.
Yeah,
we can't blame them for knocking the wall down when it was almost down anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
I have to disagree with that.
Also, they played the agenda into the Capaldi era more so than the Matt one, and that's what did it. In my opinion, that's what did it for me.
Especially
for me personally,
10.
I was like, no, I don't want to be watching this anymore. And then Jodie's era came in, and they took it up to level 10.
I understand what you're saying, but I believe that any effect on the viewers were largely down to the fact that simply it was largely down to the scheduling complacency from the BBC. And if the BBC are complacent about it, then I agree the audience gets complacent, but I personally believe that the audience didn't reject that version of Doctor Who.
I didn't.
No, I think it was. So I think it's a different thing.
But every casual fan I know dipped out in Capaldi's first series.
I did. Actually, no, the first series I didn't like at all, but I liked Peter, and I thought he can only improve. Right, the writing's terrible. He can only improve, and he did to a point.
He was always amazing.
And then suddenly they put the agenda in more so than ever. And then that's when I thought I threw my hands in the air like I just didn't care. Do you know what I mean? And just moved on. So
when you had
then, so that most people I know got to the caretaker and they've not been back.
Oh
wow!
Okay.
No, that's honestly that's not been my experience. Sorry, Matthew. Max, sorry. What do you think about?
I was going to say, with Capaldi, I know a lot of people my age. I fight them on this because I love Capaldi, but they thought he was too old because I think. The change from Matt Smith's young, amazing doctor to a more grumpy older doctor, they didn't like it. I mean, there's some guy who I know who it's just a stupid opinion. He hates Capaldi because of his age. I think it's ridiculous, but I do think it did play an impact on the younger people's enjoyment
Americans
of Doctor
especially. Who. Americans especially. I know a lot of American fans in LA. And they were so disappointed because they had that big thing with I can't remember the presenter's name, Zoe Ball. And they were saying, we're going to introduce you to the next Doctor. And I was like so excited. And then Peter came out. I love Peter, but unfortunately I was like, no, they've made a mistake here. Everyone's used to a young Doctor. Now you're giving us an old Doctor. I knew it was a mistake, but I do like Peter, I must say. So.
Capaldi's doctor said it to Clara, at the very end of that first
episode.
He's like, was that your boyfriend on the phone? Everybody wanted the young, handsome doctor. And, we had gotten away from that a little bit. And when you started with this new regeneration, now you have this old crotchety doctor again. I loved Capaldi, and as much as I loved everybody before him, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I just wish they wouldn't have made him as grouchy.
I knew it was going to go that way, though.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to go that way.
Just to say, this is a conversation we've had before. But when it comes to when it comes to the era that followed it, I think we have to acknowledge that the BBC gave it every possible advantage they possibly could. They moved the day, they fixed the time slot, they gave it an easier night on the schedule where there was next to no competition. They gave it all the publicity it would ever need, including that massive Comic-Con panel. They supported it hugely in a way that they probably hadn't done for a few years. Yeah, we of course we all know why. And it still failed really hard and really, really quick.
Yeah. Well, it got 11 million viewers at the start, didn't it?
Yeah, for the first 2 weeks, it was. Yeah, for the first 2 weeks, it was quite an impact because it was shit. Yeah, Mark Cockrum says shit. Disney Plus has a massive built-in audience who already like cult TV, which could make it more accessible to new viewers. That's kind of what you're saying, isn't it, Martin? It could benefit from because they tab it and so they brand it. If you like this, maybe try that. If you like one show about time travelers, perhaps you'll enjoy this. That's what you mean, isn't it?
And when you sign into Disney Plus, at the top you have Marvel, you have Star Wars, you have blah blah blah. The top logo for the international viewers is going to have Doctor Who. Yeah, when people launch it, they can see it.
Yeah, is that confirmed, or is
that's going to happen? Yeah,
it almost certainly will happen. Yeah,
I was thinking the next trailer we're going to get will probably be D23 in September.
Yeah,
do you think that because
that's what Kyle Wagner believes? He's very up on these things as well, and he keeps saying, "Wait for D23. It's their event, Martin. They'll throw the kitchen sink at it for that." You believe that too?
If the strike's over and they've got the actors, sure. But yeah, we'll see.
Nobody's budging though on the strike. The people that are in charge, the people that has all the money, they're saying they're not going to cow down to their demands. Actors are saying they're not going to be doing anything unless they cow down to their demands. Writers saying the same thing. So this is going to go on up to Christmas, in my opinion. I think it's going to go way beyond Christmas.
So if that happens, they need a backup plan. They need something because I think somebody said a while ago in the chat, momentum has not started yet. I feel like we've not had a proper start of momentum at all. No. And we've had
false starts and false hope, Charlotte.
Well, they can't be thinking, oh, we'll do it at this event and then not turn up and then not have anything if that event
I don't want to get to D23, as Martin said, and for nothing to appear again, and then for it to be, oh, well, we'll wait for New York Comic Con. And in fact, I think that's around the time that the specials are on, so it'll be too late by then.
That's my problem. They can't tie this all to events. I think that's the other issue that they need to not get complacent about. Because multiple things can stop an event from happening. It needs to have its own marketing independent campaign. I feel like
can't they do an advert on the BBC though?
That's
because
what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I'm saying because we know. Oh, sorry, Charlotte. I agree with Charlotte. Then do you know what I mean?
What she said.
Yeah, what she said. I mean, the thing is that they with the strike and everything else doesn't affect us as Brits. They can do an advert on the BBC. They can, they can do stuff on the BBC.
Or just like the Sonic Screwdriver proved, just put a video out. Yeah. Just put something out. If it's good enough, if it's exciting enough, if it does its job, it will create plenty of hype, plenty of talk without having to do an event around it. And I just think that's what Doctor Who needs to feel like. It's its own breathing, living machine again when it comes to the marketing. And I just feel like Dan said, we've had full start.
Crappy trailers.
No, I completely agree. Doc Martin here in the live chat reminds us that Capaldi's numbers were greatly improved by the iPlayer. But yeah, that is true. Capaldi used to put nearly 2 million on his figures on iPlayer, and Whittaker could barely manage 100,000, I think. I remember that too. And whenever we go down a rabbit hole here, it always does rattle a few cages. I like Capaldi, but he was the right doctor at the wrong time, says Ian Gettings, very profound.
I agree. Totally agree with that.
And we've got several people mentioned the wokeness that started to appear, even because obviously that's when the BBC's Equality and Diversity Charter was drawn up, and Stephen Moffat has spoken about how frustrating he found that. I think Doctor Who being on Disney can only be a great thing. Says Glenn Piper, he's down for that. Robert Payne says, I don't care if America gave all the money, just keep off the production and the stories. Depends on I suppose time will tell. I know it's a boring answer. but it's
They
a
are
true
coughing
one.
up money, aren't they? Disney's coughing up money, aren't they, Dan, to the series? So they can't really,
Seems so.
you know, I mean, they're responsible for that huge TARDIS set, you know. So I mean, a lot of money was spent on that huge TARDIS
I
set.
would imagine that they're going to get something out of it when it comes to a spin-off series or something like that. It's got to be written in the contracts that they're going to get something exclusive that they might be able to get their meat hooks into, and hopefully they'll have the common sense to do what was done with the only thing that they've come out with that's been very, very good in the last 5 or 6 years, and that was Werewolf by Night. And
I never saw that. Is that good?
Oh my God, Ian! It's only about an hour long, right, Dan? About 100.
Yeah, I never saw it in the end.
It was about and I was up late night and I watched it twice in a row. Watch it, you won't regret it. As a director and writer yourself, I think you'll like it.
All right.
So we've got D23 could be a possibility, as Martin reminds us there. But Carol G says that New York Comic Con, that's October the 12th to the 15th. So just a month at the most before things should be kicking off there for the 60th anniversary. So obviously there are windows there, but it's getting agonizing. Glenn Piper said it feels like we get fewer stories and Doctor Who is gone again. It's felt like that for several years. Let's be honest, it has. Electric Bull says we're still in July and it's too early for a trailer. Usually, Charlotte, I mean, we've had this discussion as well, haven't we? Usually I would agree with Electric Bull, but they gave us the first teaser for this. We saw the first footage of this 8 months ago at Christmas. So once they probably shouldn't have done that because this isn't good enough.
Yeah. But also, it's not like a movie that I can understand like months and months before, and you don't want to. This is free specials.
Yep.
This is a series. Mm-hmm. This is a longer form way that we're going to be watching something. So I say you can do something. It doesn't have to be a load of story beats in the trailer, but give us a bit of something just so I still feel like we're clueless to what actually the 60th is.
Do you remember the 50th when they had that trailer and they had all the doctors and they were standing on the thing and the camera went around them? They should do something like that.
Like I said before, if you're scared to death to show story details, just do a lovely homage, a lovely artistic sort of thing.
Yeah,
I feel like they should have spread it out a bit better as well, because right at the start they gave us everything, and then they just stopped forever. And now I'm bored out of my mind waiting for a trailer or something.
I think what it is, Max, I think that Russell, I think his heart was in the right place. He was aware that for the first time since the show had come back, there was nothing for fans over Christmas. There was no episode on either Christmas Day or New Year's Day, and I think he felt bad about that. He certainly and scrambled together that trailer and didn't think of the long-term consequences of giving people a full minute on Christmas Day and then nothing for nearly 8 months now. So I think it's understandable that everybody... Electric Bull is absolutely right under normal circumstances, but I don't personally think these are normal circumstances. Do you see what I mean?
But you know something,
I'm
though...
so glad they did it, but I feel like they should do another trailer more.
I loved it on Christmas Day. I felt amazing. Martin?
That was our Christmas special. It was our Christmas special because, of course, the woke scumbags took it away from us for how many years?
They did, yeah.
And then Russell said, "Merry Christmas, here you go." And you know, Max is absolutely right. We need something else. It doesn't have to be a lot. Charlotte's right. It should be something vague, but give us something. Give us some. Just.
What's your take, Martin?
Maybe I'm completely misremembering this, but I remember for the 50th, I think the first trailer was in September.
Yes. And it was a good trailer as well.
Yeah, and they announced that they were doing the big 50th anniversary convention in July. So it's not unheard of that we would have nothing yet.
Again, I suppose playing devil's advocate, earlier that year we'd had that run. We'd had Series 6B, hadn't we? And the name of the Doctor, which I kind of is like a 50-minute trailer for the Day of the Doctor, isn't it? So I suppose we'd had some other Doctor Who. But yeah, when you put it into context like that, I mean, it does feel just not right.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, this is a different time. This is a different situation. So, and I agree with Charlotte, and I agree with Mr. Jaws, and I agree with Martin. Sorry, Mr. Jaws. I agree. You know, this is a different situation.
It's Scott. He's only been on the show about 12 times.
I know it's Scott. I'm joking. But this is a different situation. They've literally almost destroyed Doctor Who with that error that came. The error that we won't speak of. They need to get our confidence back. They need to drag us back into it. And they're not really doing that as far as I'm concerned. And this is the 60th, would you believe? So I reckon there should have been more teasers, more trailers. No, we're not talking about Dooms, wherever that Doomsday rush was. You know what I mean? Just forget that. But they should be doing more. We should be excited. We should be like on tenterhooks. They should have one trailer where you went, bloody hell, I've got to see that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember the first trailer that came out of, I keep saying this to Dan, Doctor Who, when Chris Eccleston was running down the corridor and he had a huge explosion behind him. I was like, I'm there.
And that wasn't story beats. That wasn't footage.
It wasn't. Yeah. Why don't they do something like that? I don't know. They should. They're not.
I've got a comment here from Aidan McGeer in the live chat, and I'd forgotten about this. He says that first trailer was at Comic-Con, actually. I think he's talking about last year, which never went online. Now he said that. I think you heard this as well, Martin. Something was screened last year.
That was for the 50th. They got the day of the Doctor.
Oh, I see.
SDCC. Yeah, we didn't get it till like September over here.
Because I did hear that some footage was screened somewhere last year, but it could have been footage that did obviously make it into the Christmas Day trailer. I'm talking about the 60th here now. I'm getting completely confused.
But they also did that wonderful. Well, I didn't think much of it personally. A lot of people liked it, and nobody knew it was coming. The Paul McGann one, you know, the Paul short. I didn't know it was coming. I didn't know it was coming. Suddenly somebody said, Paul McGann's the Doctor. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I looked on YouTube and it was there. So why aren't they doing something like that? Anything.
Matthew Burrows says they are not, Mega. They cannot even get a release date for season 20. We gave you the release date for the season 20 box set on the last edition of Type 40 Live. Go and check that out. So yeah, and there is a good reason why they don't publish those dates. To be fair, Matthew, you know, we've all seen what happens when they do and they can't hit them. The people who work on those sets, they really don't like disappointing people. Trust me, we've had them on the show. They don't. He means the 50th trailer. Thank you, Aidan. I'm very easily confused, mate. Very easily confused. Problem being says that nothing says British show. Says a British show than when the Americans get everything exclusively first.
Well, it wasn't Americans. It was 1,500 people at a convention, the biggest convention in the world, where even the normal press treat it like it's not a joke. But they treat everything that comes out of the SDCC seriously. About 11 months of the year, they'll treat sci-fi fans like we're a joke. But when SDCC, the mainstream media takes it seriously. So doing that one at San Diego Comic-Con made complete sense.
And to be fair, there were probably more Japanese people there than anybody else. So let's just...
That's a good
point.
With
the video cameras.
There were Doctor Who panels at Comic-Con this year. They just weren't the ones...
Hello.
Somebody took out Dan.
Because his Dan disappeared.
He's been eliminated. Exterminated.
What's that?
You just went off. You went off just a second ago.
Okay.
You might just cut.
It's the BBC. They don't want us talking.
So this was the first panel. This was the Doctor Who comics panel, and that is Jodie Houser there. Now, she's been working on Doctor Who comics for a few years, several miniseries and things for Titan. She's a writer. And so she's been beavering away there on multiple miniseries and things. But obviously the comics over there at Titan, you know, I think I've spoken about those a few times. They used to be very, very popular. They used to be pretty decent quality. Now, frankly, and I'm not necessarily blaming Jodie for that, they're not. It seems to me like Titan is treading water with that entire line, and I'm quite surprised they even bothered to do a panel for this. But I suppose at least someone was there. Jodie's latest material that ties into Doomsday. You can buy that at the moment if you're that interested. Yeah, I think I'm
all excited
with the best will in the world. Dan Slott was there on Zoom though. Dan Slott, who's the writer, the longest standing writer in the history of the American comic book Amazing Spider-Man. Also turns out that he's a massive Doctor Who fan, and he's been itching to work on the series in some way or another. And he's got a one-shot comic book coming out later this year. It's out on October the 10th. It's called Doctor Who Once Upon a Time Lord. And Dan, I'm not Dan's biggest fan, but I like the artist, Christopher Jones. He's working on this, as is Mike Collins, another great guy. I've met Mike a couple of times. Matthew Dow's on it too. So there's a few artists working with Dan Slott on that one-shot comic book out later in the year, which I think could be worth a bit of a punt. So that's one panel out of the way. There was a fan panel as well. Well, I say fan panel, they billed it as the future of Doctor Who, which I got quite excited about this until I read who was on it. Now, this is nothing against these people. In fact, I've live streamed with a couple of the people who are on this panel. It was moderated by Sandro Monetti, and it was a panel, but they just pretty much all got together and speculated. It was no better or no worse than the kind of stuff that we're doing here for you right now. It's just that we're a little bit better dressed. Good God. Bless them. I hope they had a good time. So this isn't even up to view on any of the Comic-Con YouTube channels or anything. So I can't even tell you what was said, but I do hope that everybody on the panel and who was there in the hall had a good time taking part in it, I suppose. Whatever they talked about the future of Doctor Who there, Max.
Sorry?
Very, very. Whatever they were talking about, I hope they had a good time.
Oh, yeah. I miss it.
I was just happy to see Sub-Zero was there, so that's all I care about.
Raymond Williams says, had JNT still been alive, I think he would have organised a British Doctor Who convention. It needs someone like that to get the ball moving. I mean, I'd like to think that something's going to happen. I mean, we did hear at Type 40, it was quite a long time ago now, we heard that something was planned, but who knows? Who knows with this brand at the moment? I haven't got a clue. There was one other panel as well, and this one actually does seem to be a little more worthwhile. It was called the Visual Effects of Doctor Who, and it was there. Now this panel, it wasn't fans. It was made up in, you'll like this, it was a panel made up of special effects personnel from across various Hollywood movies and TV shows. Yeah, so they were there in front of their audience, and the idea was they gave their expert opinion about how to get the Doctor Who effect if you were making a low-budget film or maybe something for university.
Oh, that's quite nice. I would have went to that if I was there.
Nice idea, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of visual effects, and the artists. Majority of them are very dedicated to their craft and stuff like that. I mean, I'm, there's a YouTube channel called the Corridor Crew that talks about visual effects and stuff like that. And they're very entertaining as well. So I'm assuming they're kind of like the Corridor Crew. So
maybe,
yeah, I would have went.
Yeah. So of the various people on this panel, you've got professionals from the shows Raised by Wolves and Creepshow, and from big movies, X-Men 2, X2 United, whatever that was called, Game of Thrones. There was somebody from Game of Thrones that was there. Somebody who'd worked on Independence Day and Mission to Mars, and someone who'd been on the Christopher Nolan film Inception. So the people off good stuff with great visual effects.
They are scraping the barrel here because obviously,
of course.
I'm saying so, but the thing is that I would have.
It's a nice idea, isn't it? It's an inventive idea.
Yeah, they had to do something, didn't they? What hall was this then, or what room was this? It wasn't H. H is the biggest one, isn't it?
Oh no, that's cavernous, that place. But they got pics of old Doctor Who episodes up on screen. We've got the bubble wrap hand from the Ark in Space there, Martin. And we've got the white robots there from the Mind Robber Scott. So they took some low hanging fruit there, bless them. The Mind Robber's like 55 friggin' years old, for crying out loud. Yeah. But apparently this went down very, very well. And I know that there are one-day events all over Britain that sort of do things like this. It's just that, again, if you'd have flown halfway across the world to go and see this, how would you feel about it, Charlotte? I don't know.
I think if you knew that this was on and that's your interest, it was probably a really good time. Like, because it's quite specialist and it's and that's a proper thing that if you love it, you'd sit there and listen to it. It's not my cup of tea, but I can imagine it could be for lots of fans. So I think this probably sounds like a lot more fun than a lot of the other ones you mentioned.
But also the fact that these fans, they every year they pay well before the actual thing starts, you know, because they're scared of not getting. Immediately when the thing comes out, they're buying their ticket, whatever. So they didn't know this was going to happen. They didn't know it was going to be a strike and stuff like that. So they're there.
Yeah.
They might as well make the most of it. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's what they're doing. So, and God bless the organisers. They're trying to fight against this thing and putting the panel up like that and stuff like that. They're trying their best in a bad situation. So, you know, what can you do?
You could be right. People standing up for Werewolf by Night here is a good example of some Marvel stuff. So people do seem to like that. Bubble wrap. Whereas Bubble wrap was very new back then in 1974. Yeah, that's the hand there from the Ark in Space. Wonderful stuff. Doc Martin says, "I'm disheartened with the whole Doctor Who thing now." We haven't done that to you, Doc Martin.
Well,
you've had Doomsday. Count yourself lucky.
Matthew Burrow says, "I've pre-ordered the season 20 of the collection. It's not out until December. It's out on September the 18th, Matthew. So yeah, hold your horses." We said on Type 40 Live last week, the Queen lives, says Problem Being. I think that's for you, Charlotte. I think that's for you.
I think it was the fan panel. One of them looked a bit like
Queen,
God.
yeah.
Liz.
Oh, okay, good stuff. So thanks for all the comments on that one. Doctor Who, yeah, it is going to be back eventually, we're promised. I mean, I'd like to think, yeah, D23 would be great. Several people have said that. If not, maybe New York. They've got to show to us at some point. Doctor Who's back in November 2023. Those 3 60th anniversary specials. David Tennant, Catherine Tate there, and then over the festive period, got to be Christmas Day, hasn't it? Ncuti Gatwa will star in his first full-blown episode of Doctor Who as the 15th Doctor, and a whole new series of Doctor Who starring Ncuti with Millie Gibson will debut, on Disney Plus and everywhere else on the BBC, all over the world on that streaming platform there, sometime in 2024. Who knows exactly when? Keep the comments coming, everybody. What do you think about the Disney question? Will you ever get used to it, or is it simply a fact? Just as Martin said, this is just the way the global industry has moved, and they've been there for several years. Are we going to notice? Or do you think that the mouse is plain and simply evil, and that we should try and persuade the BBC to maybe wrestle it away from them sooner rather than later? I don't know. Ian, I think Ian's very convinced about that. I have got mixed feelings. I won't lie. I'm very aware of who Disney are at the moment and what they represent. I'm as worried by their. It's not even that their output, that their content isn't as good as it should be, as it used to be. It's the fact of what that brand has started to stand for now. That concerns me. That it really does concern me that Doctor Who is anywhere near that, because it's worrying, I think, as regards ideology and what Ian would calls the agenda. We can't say it's not there. It is. So let us know what you think of it all in the comments section. We're all ears. Okay. What next? Let's finish off the way we usually finish off, shall we?
Oh, you should. That hurt my. Oh, Jesus! No, please take that off the screen.
I thought you were going to show us pretty pictures, Dan.
Yeah.
We've got you. Gotcha. Okay, so this is that part of the show where we round things off looking at the view screen one last time, our regular view into the temporal schism, in search of prettier pictures than all of that. Certainly. And if you are a fan artist, or you know a fan artist that you think that we should be aware of, you'd like to get their work up here on our view screen for us to have a look at and salivate over their work, then by all means put us in touch with them. Send us a link to their Instagram or their DeviantArt page or any of their social media accounts, and we'll have a look and bring it up on screen and maybe get them in for a chat too. That's how we like to do things here at Type 40 Live. First of all, what have we got first? I wanted to just look at this because this is Roy Skelton. Everybody, this is Roy Skelton. This is the late actor and voice artist Roy Skelton, who wasn't just the voice of Zippy and Bungle on Rainbow, but he was one of the many voices of the Daleks. And Roy, he died in June 2011. And it's very much missed, I think. He's probably one of the ultimate Dalek voices. He's the one in that fantastic outtake from the Five Doctors where the Daleks going a bit nuts in that confined space, if you remember that. But yeah, so in light of that and Roy's special place in the hearts of Doctor Who, I saw this piece of artwork which has been inspired by him. And we see one of his identities sort of bursting out of the other. There's the zippy Dalek, Ian. Would that give you the ultimate nightmare?
Yeah, no, I really, it's a really nice bit of artwork, really, isn't it? It's quite charming, actually, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Are you too young to remember Rainbow, Martin? Was that still on when you were a kid?
Oh no, I was a big fan of Rainbow when I was a kid. Yeah.
And the voices were so distinctive, weren't they? I mean, they kept trying to mess with the formula, didn't they? But Zippy always sounded like Zippy, and George always sounded like George. And as long as that was the case, I don't think you go that far wrong. Oh, but yeah, lots of Rainbow fans in the live chat as well, including the Geeks Handbag, who says, I love that artwork. It's fun. I love it, says Mark Cockram there. Yes, says Problem B. Just a simple yes. Great artwork, says Matthew Burrows. And Cyber Matt Strike says Zippy is creepy as. So everybody loves Zippy, don't they? Absolutely, they do. So that's a cracking piece of artwork. I've got no artist for that, sadly, but I had to get that up on screen. I don't suppose you have any idea what Rainbow was or is, do you, Max?
No, I don't. I feel like I've seen him before, but I don't know. But I do love the artwork. It is cool.
I'll tell you what really puzzled me about Rainbow is when he was talking too much. I can't remember the presenter. He used to zip his mouth up. Yeah, it didn't occur to Zippy that he's got a hand. He could unzip. His mouth, but he never does.
Oh, game changer. We've got this one too. Now, we do know this guy's name. We've featured his work several times before. This is Mark D. Lewis and his latest piece celebrating the Yeti there. More furry foes. And they didn't say a great deal, though, the Yeti, has to be said, the abominable snowmen, in their 2 appearances in Doctor Who back in the 60s. And then in the 5 Doctors, they did a bit of growling, didn't they? Yeah. But I love Mark's work. He does it on canvas. I think it's mostly oils, but particularly when he does stuff that's centered around black and white Doctor Who, Scott. I think this is very atmospheric.
Yeah, it's very nice. I love it. I mean, I have never really worked a lot with oils myself, mostly acrylic, but it's lovely.
Yeah, we've featured Mark's work several times, so I always like to keep an eye on whatever is on his canvas and what's coming next from the Doctor Who history books. We've got very nice there from Mark Cockram. I know the name Mark Cockram from somewhere. I don't remember seeing it in the live chat before, but I do know the name from somewhere. It'll come back to me, I think. Character options. Please release the Yeti, says Problem being. Yeah, I would love a Yeti.
Here.
So that's a seconded from Matthew Burrows there in the live chat. Yes, Matthew, I've seen your other joke as well. I'm not going to read that out. And John Leeson was the original Bungle. Yes, he was, Mark. He was. That's the notorious, scary, nightmare version of Bungle. But we've all seen that. If you want to find out more about Rainbow, Max, head over to YouTube and search it. There's tons of it there. And talking about childhoods, I want to finish off with this one. It's not a painting, and it's not even digital art, but I definitely count this as art. It was shared. I don't know who did it, whether it actually belongs to Warren Green or not. So thanks for this, Warren. But this is Optimus Time, everybody. Optimus Time.
I love it.
Did somebody actually make that, though? Or is
Looks
that
like
a digital thing? Somebody actually made it.
Yeah, I can see the paint on the model there. Yeah.
It's really good.
It looks 3D printed.
Well, basically what he's done is he's taken the toy and he's chopped up a TARDIS, isn't he? A plastic TARDIS and painted the arms and stuff. Yeah, that's what he's done, it looks like. So, it's good, though. It's good.
Yeah, I love this. I'm a massive fan of the Transformers. Of course, that's Soundwave. He was the one, wasn't he, Scott, with the evil Decepticons cassettes. So we'd got Laserbeak and Rumble in there, hadn't he?
Yes. I actually have the original G1 Soundwave. I have all of my Transformers from I'm a kid. Yes, I may not be king of the geeks, but I might be like, Prince or something.
Yeah, I haven't got one. My son's got one. My son's got a vintage one, but I haven't got one. I keep meaning to try and steal it from him because it's actually here while he's travelling around doing his thing. But yeah, fantastic stuff. You a big Transformers fan, Martin? Is this in your wheelhouse?
I used to be when I was a kid. Yeah, growing up, I really liked the movie Bumblebee. That was
good.
Yeah.
Bit of a blast. That was more harkening back to this era, wasn't it? The G1 era of the Transformers. But I do like these mashup things. It always, to see Doctor Who sort of mixed up with Transformers, so two of my favourite brands together. I really like this. So if you are watching, Warren, if this is your work, brilliant. Or by all means, get in touch and let us know who did create it. And if there's more of the same, I suppose I'd love to see more examples of things like that. Matthew Burrow says there are so many great artists out there. Of course they are. Of course there are. Of course, Oh no, okay, that's funny, says Moons of Madness. I wish that was a thing, a real thing, says the Geeks Handbag. And Matthew again says, great show, guys. Who needs the one show? I quite agree, Charlotte. Who needs the one show when you've got Type 40 live, which we imagined would be shorter this time, but it's actually ended up clocking up at the average
Dan
time.
always promises me, because I need to go. He always says backstage, Charlotte will be finished by 10. He always says that.
Yeah.
But on that note, I need to go, folks. So
we'll see you in a couple of days' time, Charlotte.
Monday.
Lovely to have spent this time with you again. No, bye-bye.
See you on Thursday.
See you.
Ta-da.
And yeah, she's off. She looks like she's off to a hoedown, doesn't she, in that shirt?
At least she's put stuff behind her, so she made the effort. You know what I mean? She's got a little.
The mum's decorated. That's what it is.
I've got lots of dumped over clothes in a cardboard box by me. I've made the same effort.
Yeah, but it's still cool though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
very, very cool.
And then here I am in the room of doom. So
I like your room.
Looks fantastic.
I like your room.
And now you're against the green splat. It looks like you're sort of part of the what do they call it? The Matrix almost. Yeah.
Well, then,
at least there isn't just a black void behind you. Oh,
right.
Sorry.
right here.
You don't want to see my kitchen. That's why this shit.
Right.
Right there on the shelf. That is Blaster from the Transformers.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Excellent.
Please, if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to the channel, check you're still subscribed, and hit the cloister bell to get the notifications about what's coming next and when it's coming right at you. So that's more live streams like this, more Type 40 lives, Type 40 extra, a video exclusive show that comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Well, there's a Type 40 podcast there too. More episodes of that coming thick and fast throughout the rest of the summer as the anniversary gets ever closer. So all you people are saying you didn't know we're streaming tonight, you would do if you'd have hit the cloister bell to get your notifications. That's sort of how that works. And yeah, that's it for this one. So yeah, before we go, I just want to recap Martin and your podcast. So you've recently, you are Bad Wolf, aren't you? You've been podcasting for several years, and this is your brand new show, isn't it? Mart Meets. I listened to this the other day. It was absolutely fantastic. But what's the general premise, and who have you spoken to so far?
So yeah, it's just people I find interesting. So if I find them interesting, I'll have them on. They might be famous, or I've got one with a friend coming up that's had a really interesting life, so I'm hoping to record that. But the most recent one was with comedian Joe Pasquale, and he was very generous with his time, and I got half an hour with him, and it was a great chat.
I listened to that one the other day, and I found it really amusing, and it seemed like just 5 minutes. The rapport between you guys was it was very, very clear, and I could tell you were a fan. But I think I thought he was so down to earth, Joe.
He was.
And he mentioned farting quite a lot in that, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a farter.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? So where can people get this? Where's your home, and which platforms can they find it on?
So you can find it on anywhere you get your podcast, but they'll go up on badwolf.com.
Oh.
There you go. Got a website. Got a website as well. So yeah, how about you, Max? So what's the name of your channel again? I've pronounced it right once. I'm not going to go for a second time. Where can people find you?
Shush Bitches on YouTube, but I'm a lazy bugger. I don't do anything often, but you can come have a look sometimes.
He's selling it. He's selling it.
I'll have a look. Yeah, why not?
Oh, yes. Well, it is a terrible channel.
What do you talk about? What do you talk about on the channel? It's getting there. Listen, Max. It's not terrible. It's getting there. It's what they call up and coming, mate. Up and coming.
Oh, okay.
It's
It's
a
coming.
terrible channel. I love that.
So just tell us, what do you talk about generally on the channel?
Well, hopefully Sonic Screwdriver soon. I can't believe I was blasting Russell for being bad at promotion earlier. This is horrible for me, but yes, I'll be doing a Sonic Screwdriver one and something later probably. Who knows?
Oh. Well, I look forward to watching it.
Oh, nice. There we go.
And how about you, Scott? How are things going at the Game Closet? I was lucky enough to be a guest on Scott's channel just a week or so ago, wasn't I? We talked about the classic 1989 action movie Roadhouse, didn't we? I had a brilliant time on that. But what else have you got coming up for the people who may be interested in a bit of 80s? What would you? Is it just 80s movies that you do on that one?
No, but it seems like almost everything has been the 80s so far, because everything has been, we did, of course, we did Batman, we did RoboCop, we did the Indiana Jones trilogy, and then of course we just finished off with Roadhouse, and so the Beverly Hills Cop is coming up. This coming Sunday, and that is at 7:30 Eastern. And of course, that is the show Video Vault Live. That is, of course, on the Game Closet channel. Now, our channel is mostly comedy video game reviews and skits and things like that. Think Angry Video Game Nerd meets David Letterman without the F-bombs. So something like that. But occasionally, about once every 2 weeks, Video Vault Live comes out, and we have a few mates together, and we talk old movies, or sometimes we might throw in something newer. And then usually at the end of the evening, we have something called the Harbinger of Memes, where I will bring up all these memes that I can find that are usually relative to the movie. But if there are no memes to be found, as Dan found out, we had something special in its place. So come check us out on Game Closet, and you can also follow us on Facebook. I do post on Twitter, but that's just to bring people into the channel, into Facebook, and that's all. So if you need a good laugh, and if you like video games and movies, come on over and check us out.
We all like a laugh. We're Doctor Who fans. If you don't laugh, you'll cry, particularly an anniversary year where there's been next to no promotion. But this is Doctor Who's 60th anniversary year, and we're covering it here on Type 40 and Type 40 Live, all for the love of Doctor Who. And we'll be back very, very soon for more Type 40 Live. Same space, same time, just a different day. So don't forget to please like the video, subscribe to the channel, check you're still subscribed, and hit the cloister bell to get all of that. That's coming up on Thursday, Ian. It's our Type 40 Live big summer fight here to close out season 6. Are you looking forward to it, mate? Have you decided what you're wearing? A pair of Bermudas, maybe? No. And which baseball cap you'll have on?
I'll have a baseball cap on if you want me to, but no. I mean, I'm looking for. I love, as you know, I love Type 40. There's going to be a lot to talk about when this new thing comes out, new season comes out, and so I'm looking forward to that as well. And plus, it's the company as well, Charlotte, Shah, and all the rest of them, all the rest of the mob, Simon. They're a pleasure to be on with. So I don't know about the host Dan, but hey, such is life. Yeah,
he grows on you. He's what they call a grower. Yeah, so that's more Type 40 Live coming up Thursday, 8 p.m. here on the Type 40 channel. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the cloister bell if it's your first show. Welcome aboard. Come back for more. Don't miss it. Gentlemen, thank you for your company on this edition of the show. I'd love to have you both back, actually, Max and Martin. You've been brilliant sports. And as always, same to Charlotte Shields there. Wouldn't be the same without her. Scott, brilliant to reconnect with you. Every time we have you on, you're always great value. And as for him on the other side, well... So I think that rounds it off for this time. Thank you for all your comments, everybody, as always. We've got lots of good nights and thank yous,
subscribe,
and all that kind of thing. Yeah, please subscribe if you haven't already. Great
if
show,
you
guys.
subscribe, this guy down bottom is going to
688.
show you his kitchen if you subscribe. All right?
Dun, dun, dun. On that bombshell, Martin's smiling very, very nervously. So I think, we better close the doors now. We'll see you back. We'll see you back here for more Type 40 Live in a couple of days. But that's it for another one. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. You take care. We'll speak to you all again on the next one. Bye-bye.